Explanation to what's happening and prevent further desecration of the African. Concentrating on the facts is when my pen was given oxygen for me to breathe into the lungs of men, women, and children, and tell them to stop the killing of your own. Cause now we revealing the villain. It's the removal of American brain locks that keep us in the business of increasing our grave plots. If not, mentally we'll rot. You think not? That's why all these years after slavery we still in the same spot. You think it's different cause you don't see a chain in a lock? Well, check the lack of change in your pocket and no escape from the block. See, when you try to be European, they tell you something to believe in. When you too black, too strong, you too wrong and a demon. But he creates the diseases of destruction for no reason. If you American, why do their diseases dominate black regions?
We need to understand, we're not getting out of this without each other. We ain't going nowhere without each other. And sisters, don't look no further than that black man. And brothers, don't look no further than that black woman. We're supposed to love what womb we come out of. That's the truth. We're the oldest people on planet Earth. The oldest and most moral people. We just can't tell right here in 2008, but we are. We got a dynamite brother here. I'm not going to really belabor the moment. This brother is real super special, and his mother is really super special. Sister, raise your hand, just real quick. I ain't gonna prolong the moment with those stories. But give you one. Sister Neckback. I gotta tell the story again. I don't remember it all that great now, but I'm gonna go ahead and ad-lib because that's like I do that real good. She was growing up, and she had a dog that she loved a lot. Loved this dog. And she was, we were talking one day. She told me the story a couple of years ago. It was a beautiful story. She loved this dog. She was a little girl. Dalmatian, was it? It was a Dalmatian. She loved this dog. And her father was the kind of man who was, kind of kowtow to white folks. Good man, but like most of us, kind of afraid of whites. Kind of brother that kind of when whites come around, kind of shrink a little bit. Yeah. We can't act like we got in this situation on our own. We got to get out of it on our own, but we can get into the situation on our own. And the brother kind of feared white folks, and they lived next door to us, they were renting, I guess, or lived near a white family. And the landlord came to him and said, look, that dog barks, and y'all got to get rid of that dog. And he was real demanding, how white folks do. And he told him, the tobacco in his mouth, that dog had better be gone in the morning. And complained about the dog barking. Sister Neckback went to bed that night, woke up in the morning, her dog was gone. And she was real hurt because her father, on the command of this white boy, took her dog that she loved so much and did whatever with it, but the dog was gone. And she made a vow to herself. She said, if I ever have a son, I'm going to take that fear away from him. I'm going to bring him up in a world, this hateful, cruel world, as a man. I'm going to make him bold. I'll make him beautiful. I'll make him black. I'll make him respect himself. I'm going to make him respect black women. I'm going to make him fearless. And that fearless black man is none other than the Irritated Genie of South. Let's clap up for him, brothers. Fearless black man. There he is. The people's champ. That's him.
Our God commands growth and prosperity to African people, peace to all God's beings, and death to all enemies of God and African people. How you feeling, brothers and sisters? Y'all feeling good on this Mother's Day?
Yes.
All right, well, I'm not much in the long introductions. You had a nice Mother's Day introduction. We're going to jump right into it. But I do want to make a couple of points, very briefly before we get into it. One, very important, people. I want you to understand, brothers and sisters. This is not in any way, shape, or form PKB trying to be judgmental. We're going to step on a lot of toes today. I'm going to step on my own toes today. So if you see me fall or trip up here, we've been under European rule for 2,000 years. I think all of us got the right to say we got some issues, and we got to talk about it honestly today. And in saying that, brothers and sisters, I want you to walk out of here. I want everybody to hear this very, very clearly because it's true. Please do not leave with the idea that you feel bad about something you've done with your head down. That's not why we do this. We don't do this to walk away feeling worse than we felt before we came in here. We're doing it because the only way we're going to make better decisions and do better is to take an honest assessment of where we are today. Look back where we were, see where we are today, and say, what can we do better? And so that's what our attempt is to do today. I want you to understand where we're coming from. And that's what this whole entire lecture is going to be about where we are today, what has the result of over 5,000 years of having integrated relations, and over specifically 2,000 years of integrating with Europeans, what condition has it left our people in? So, and lastly, I want you to remember the purpose of it. Some of the things we'll all find in some way, shape, or form they've impacted us, but most importantly, we cannot pass some of these things on to our future generations. So without any further ado, can we go on and get on into this discussion?
Yes, sir.
You know it's not intended to be harsh, right? We understand that. All right, then work with me today. Tough discussion we're gonna have. We're gonna start right off. There it is. I know, richest black man in the world, right? He said, Fuzzy, no more chicken and watermelon jokes for me, baby. I'm in there. He went out, got him white. I mean, she ain't even got blonde hair. She got white hair. I mean, he went all the way to the cave, right? But then Tillman had to tell him, no, sir. She got on the radio, looked just almost like the female almost look alike, don't they? I just can't tell them apart, man. Maybe they don't look alike, I don't know. She said, the only way y'all gonna beat Tiger Woods is to take him in a back alley and lynch him. Tiger said, no, but I'm one of y'all now. No. How many people in here seen the terrorism from the entertainment series? How many of y'all saw that? Terrorism from the entertainment industry. Hip-hop culture Zionism. Y'all got to check that out. There's one little part in it, I don't know if y'all remember, but it's a sister, and she rapping against this European white male. You know, they doing this little rap. It's a terrible thing. But the sister said something, I never forgot it either. It was funny. You know, you white boy, you trying to get in the rap game? She leaned over and said, you ain't getting in. She said, you ain't getting in. And that's what the white folks are telling a lot of black people trying to lead the black race, thinking that they can get with a white girl, or sister, you can get with a white boy, and all your troubles gonna wash away. No. White folks will tell you every time, you ain't getting in. Right. Matter of fact, for all our brothers and sisters out there thinking they're gonna get out the race, can we give them on three? Can we give them just one good, you ain't getting in? 1, 2, 3, you ain't getting in. You ain't getting in. I'm telling you. Gotta let them know. We're gonna do something different than we normally do today. We're gonna use a reference, a source that's best suited to serve our research. It's a source that black people don't give enough attention because it gives us the answers that we need. We're gonna use the Bible today, and we're gonna use it as the reference throughout this lecture. Absolutely. We're going to use Chancellor Williams' version, Destruction of Black. What? Oh, okay. We black, right? What are y'all, integrationists? You think I'm going to use the white man's Bible? Come on, man. How you going to have an integration lecture? The Destruction of Black Civilization, Great Issues of a Race from 4500 BC to 2000 AD. That's 6,500 years. Chancellor Williams looked at Tiger Woods and so many other brothers and sisters in the chapter of View from the Bridge. He said, those Negroes who are so frantically fighting to escape from the African race by way of integration and amalgamation will continue to meet everlasting and universal opposition from the whites. In other words, Dr. Chancellor Williams, in a very eloquent way, is telling them what? You ain't getting in. There it is right there. Like, what are we talking about when we say integration? Many black people think we talk about integration, we talk about something that happened in the 1950s. You know, we try to get, no. Integration has been going on for over 5,000 years. And we're going to talk about what are the main ingredients of integration so we know exactly what we're talking about. First, we're talking about the forced or voluntary acceptance of white mates as sexual partners and or husbands and wives for African people. In other words, you know, that horizontal integration. Sexual contact with Europeans. That's one of the ingredients. When we're talking about integration, that's what we're talking about. It's also most commonly referred to as race mixing. We call it as part of what we call white sex. Other terms, amalgamation, mongrelization, miscegenation. All it means is white folks and black folks going like this. Second component of integration, the forced or voluntary acceptance of white standards of thinking and behavior in exchange for indigenous ways of thinking and behavior. A process we call race whitening. What are we talking about when we say race whitening? Let's look at the Native Americans. Before the European came to the Americas, the Native American, he had his own language. He had his own culture. He had his own songs. He had his own complexion. That's why we said a red man. After the European came, he taught them how to eat, taught them how to feed. Now, they use the Europeans' language. They wear the Europeans' names. That's right. And most times, if you look at their skin complexion, you can't even identify them as Native Americans. They've even lost their skin complexion. When a race loses its culture, those things that define it, for another race, we call that race whitening. And it's a process that's been going on all over the planet. So we clear on what we're talking about when we say integration?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, all right. Well, we don't have time today, but I wanted to put this up here because it's very important. We don't have time today to establish all of the history of our people, all of the great things that black people have achieved. So I just put this up here as a resource because black people, in order to know where we are, we got to know where we came from. What does it mean about the condition we're in that's so bad if we don't know all of the things that we've done that was great, the great condition we was in? But we don't have time to do that today. So these are some sources that you can start with that can help you understand and we can establish the greatness of African civilization, of black history. So those are up there for you to check out and do your own research. But the question we got to ask today is not how black civilization was developed, but how was black civilization destroyed? How did we go from building Hormacket, Haru on the horizon, right on the Giza Plateau, the most ancient and magnificent colossal standing on planet Earth, to the point today we barely even make toilet tissue? How did we go there? And Dr. Chancellor Williams tells us there's two main components that destroyed our civilizations. One, the white Asiatics, we call them Asiatics because that was before there was a place called Europe, just white folks, would come on down into Kemet, land of our ancestors, now called Egypt, and they would marry into the royal families. We would let them marry into the royal families. Eventually, the royal families would become white, and when they got their opportunity, they used the second piece. They would invite invading armies of whites from Asia, when they had the power to, come down and commit genocide or attempt to commit genocide on the black people who had let them in to begin with. A two-way process. And it's been going on for thousands of years, over and over and over again, brothers and sisters. And you look, it ain't nothing we don't know about. Right. You get a strong black organization, right? Invariably, some black person wants to invite somebody white in. Soon as the white folks come in, the strongest of the black people like, I'm not staying here. I didn't come here for this. I want to work with black. They leave. Now you only got weak brothers and sisters and Negroes and white folks. The white folks end up invariably after 2 months, a year or so, running the organization. Now your black organization defunct by way of what? Integration. It ain't even hard. This has been going on for over 5,000 years. Dr. Chancellor Williams tells us, he says, the great majority of ancient black people took great pride in our color, as our resistance to amalgamation, which is race mixing, may be so interpreted. For one thing we observed in Kemet was that a dynasty, that's a royal ruling family, beginning as all black, could become near white in color with not a black face in the royal lineage. This two-way process of intermingling and direct aggression meant victory for the white Asians in the end. The theme of this lecture, brothers and sisters, contrary to everything we've been taught, integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization. Repeat it after me. We got to say this together. Integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization. That sounded good. Say it for you. I want y'all to do it by yourself one time. Go ahead. Let me hear that.
Integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization.
I like that. I think we got it today. So let's go after this. Let's go take a look at integration and what it's done. Now, the way we're going to do this, if we're talking about integrating with whites, first we got to talk about who are we talking about integrating with. So we define whites. Whites are a barbaric race of subhumans whose inherent disposition is the destruction of all life. Now, some people hear that and some people say, well, I mean, is that an insult? No, we're not insulting Europeans. We're telling the truth. Hue is what we call, it's called color. And there's a substance in all human beings called melanin, which determines the amount of hue. Black people have the highest concentration of melanin, which is why we are the darkest people on the planet. Europeans have the least amount of melanin. It is unnatural and a sickness to have a deficiency in the amount of melanin. And Europeans are the race on the planet with the deficient amount of melanin. Why is that important? Melanin absorbs the sun's rays. Melanin absorbs sound. That's why black people, we got rhythm. Melanin, you know we got rhythm. Now come on. I ain't got to show you that. No. But it's a key ingredient that deals with the human character and helps explain why some people can get along with those things around them in the universe and have an understanding for the respect of all life and others don't. We talk about those others, we talk about Europeans. So when we say subhumans, it's not an insult. It means they don't have the appropriate amount of hue that we would expect them to operate with normal, civilized human behavior. We say whose inherent disposition is the destruction of all life. Now, there's not one of us in here that cannot attest to what Europeans have been doing since they've been on planet Earth. Warfare and destruction. Nuclear bomb here. Slavery, we know about that, right? Mutilation and oppression. Here we see torture and murder. This is only a few years ago in Somalia. A little brother wanted to get some fresh water. The white mercenary soldiers invite him over, then roast him over a fire. We see child sexual assault with the homosexuals that's going all after our children, having a ball. Sexual perversion, gang rape. You know, the Europeans said they want to go over to Iraq and take freedom. And freedom and democracy. So that's how you get democracy and freedom, is to take somebody's mother, rape her, videotape it and send it across the world so all the world can see it. I don't want that kind of freedom. Genocidal massacres we see here in the Bush Brown massacre we call Hurricane Katrina. They blow up some levees, then fly over top of black people drowning in the water and just watching it, then call them refugees. So a refugee is a person that you drown that can't get out when you got the boats to save them, I guess. We look here, this is it looks like a mountain, right? See this European standing on top? When they wanted to clear the West out of the Native American, the red man and the red woman, whose natural home this was, and it belonged to them, many of them they couldn't beat by warfare, so they made a decision. The Native American used the buffalo for his food, clothing, and shelter, which meant no buffalo, no Native American life. So they went on a systematic process, killing, I think it was close to 50 million, but just slaughtering them. These are heads piled up of buffalo heads, just slaughter them just so they can kill out the Native Americans. So now, like I said, this is all stuff we've witnessed. We're going to have some serious dialogue, because the question for us is, after having 2,000 years of being under the oppressive rule of this type of race with this type of character, how has it impacted us? So what we're going to do, we're going to start on the surface, some things that we can see that all of us are aware of. And then we're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper and see why we say integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization. Before we go into it, I want to say it again. Please, brothers and sisters, honestly, it's a real difficult task. You know how I used to wonder, because my mother used to tell me, this behind whipping I'm giving you hurts me more than you hurts you, you know. I'd be like, you lying. Ain't no way you hurting more than I'm hurting right now. Because if you was, you'd be crying like I'm crying right now. But honestly, I love black people. I have no intention to come up here and make a person feel bad about it. So please, don't spend 2 minutes feeling bad about anything you hear here. The objective is to say, okay, that's right, this is where we are. Okay, now we know this is not our behavior. So now let's go back and let's change it. Let's make sure we don't pass it on. Is that all right, brothers? Can we talk?
Yes, sir.
We're going to start it off with a serious discussion of culture. Let's talk about culture. Culture, start with tattoos. Our ancestors left this. These are thousand-year-old drawings after thousands of years of fighting with these whites that we kept letting come in, and they rape and torture and murder our people. Our ancestors, these are your enemies. When you see them coming, prepare for battle and make sure that you win. Because to lose is to lose.
That's right.
And they said, how do you know? One of the things they said was they described them as the spiritless race. A race that did not know God. And they said one of the ways you know is because God gives us this temple. And they go, and you know, the Europeans in the caves and hills of Europe, they were white and living without melanin. So when they would go around the world and see other races, they would see that they had complexion, skin, hue. And so they would feel naked. So they would just sit down and write all over their bodies. And our ancestors said anybody who would write on their bodies, you know what kind of mentality you're dealing with. They don't even respect their own temple. Much less would they respect anything else they come in contact with. And so we say, our ancestors told us, right? We say, like fathers, like their sons and daughters, right? The European ain't changed one bit over these past 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years. And you can expect and understand why somebody with that lifeless, pale skin might decide they want to add some life by writing on themselves. But brothers and sisters, it's not us, brothers and sisters. It's a trashy practice from a trashy race. We're beautiful people. We come in all skin complexions, and all of them are beautiful. We're not devoid of melanin, hence we don't need to write on ourselves. And I don't want anybody to feel bad about it. What I'm saying is that this is not us. This is something we picked up being under the oppressive whims of Europeans. And I want to say something. it comes, in particular in modern times, it comes from homosexual white culture. And right now, black men and black people in general are mimicking homosexual white culture. So I'm saying, brothers and sisters, do not beat yourself up about it. You got him, you got him. That's not an issue. That doesn't change your character. You didn't know any better. And we weren't, look, none of us was really looking at this the right way, but we're looking at it the right way now.
That's right.
But the important thing, let us not pass it on. I saw this picture, man. Beautiful black woman, beautiful sister. Got one in the oven and one out there, beautiful little Africans, and writing all over, telling her daughters, and I'm seeing it every day, brothers and sisters, younger and younger, 12 to 10. People letting our children write on their bodies. We got to have more self-respect. This is not our culture. Please, brothers and sisters, let's stop mid-course correction and go back in the right direction. I know some people say, well, I will be a hypocrite to tell my child that. No. I had a brother I know named Mayberry. I like this brother a lot. He did work for me a lot. And one of the things he used to tell me all the time, he didn't finish high school, but he said, I tell my daughters every night, there's only one dummy in this house. And what he was saying, he wasn't saying he was really dumb, but his point was, maybe I didn't finish school, but every single one of you all is going to get an education. I'm going to put you through college. You know why? Because you're going to do better than I did. So we're not being hypocrites. The thing is, we want our children to do better than we did. They have more information now. They have us to guide them in the appropriate direction. And so we're gonna stop doing this, brothers and sisters. Took this picture here. I was in Ethiopia, and these are the hammer. You know, brothers, when you see a fine sister, you say, man, did you see that hammer? Well, I met the real hammer. And you see this beautiful little sister here, and they adorn themselves with red clay to accentuate the beauty that's already in black people. I'm not saying we can't be a beautiful people, but I'm saying you see our brothers and sisters here in Angola, we do it differently than Europeans do. We don't write on our bodies, brothers and sisters. Want to do a quick test right here, because you're looking at two beautiful black people. I mean, they're good-looking people. But I'm going to tell you this now. I know some people are going to say it might sound a little condescending. If you're 40 years old, you're like, why are you even asking that question? I know the answer. If you're 25, you might be like, well, I know what he's saying. I don't necessarily agree. If you're 15 years old, you might be like, I think he's going here, but I'm not sure. If you're 10 years old, I'm going to suggest, I'm not sure. I don't have a 10-year-old, but I'm going to suggest they might have some real problems. And I say if it's a 5-year-old, I want you to ask your 5-year-old a question to see if they get it right. I don't think a 5-year-old will have a clue. The question is, two beautiful black people.
Right.
Which one of them is not supposed to be wearing earrings? Now, it sounds like a simple question to answer for us, because many of us, if you're old like us, you grew up in a time when you knew the answer to that. But I suggest with young people whose mothers and fathers are all wearing earrings,
Go ahead, bro.
men, they don't know the answer to that.
They don't.
So, brothers and sisters, young people, the answer. Aha! Give my sisters a round of applause. That's Phyllis Stickney, beautiful sister. I hope that she's beautiful. Earrings are for women. Now listen, I know some of y'all trying to, look, I got up early today now. Some of y'all, well look man, it's cultures in Africa that wear earrings, yeah. We ain't in that culture in Africa that's wearing earrings. But the Maasai wear them, yeah, but you ain't Maasai. You know how brothers be smoking that? I say, bro, come on man, and you know what you, nah man, you know the Rastafarians. But you ain't a Rastafarian. You a Negro that likes smoking weed. Stop trying to put you up. If you want to do wrong, this is America, and in America, homosexual white culture says that men wear earrings. So let's make it simple for our brothers and sisters. And I'm going to tell you, I'm only saying this, I'm not trying to insult my brothers. We need you in this battle. And you know, brothers get kind of weak these days. You can't say nothing to them. But listen to what I'm saying to you, brothers. I love you. What I'm saying to you is this. Nobody will say this to you because we don't want to disrespect our brothers, but the truth is, I know you're not. Listen, I know you're not a homosexual, but you look like one. With the earring, no, I'm telling you, I know you're not. Don't get mad. Don't somebody want to fight me right now. Look, I know you're not, brother. You ain't got to go get no more women to prove it to me. I know you're not, but that's what it looks like. And so we got to stop this, brother and sister. Now look, I got to go there. We got to go there because we there. Now look, I'm going to say it like this. I ain't trying to be mean, but I'm going to tell you like this. If a brother got a body piercing somewhere, you a fag. Now, look, I'm telling you, look, this is from the Irritated Genie. When I see you with a body piercing, I'm not asking no question. You got some body piercing, eye things, and dude, you a fag. Now, if you're not a homosexual, I got a simple answer for you. Take it out. And do like I would do. If I had body piercings and I heard some brother saying that, I say, yeah, he right. I just lie. I would say, your brother wearing body piercing. It's terrible, man. I take it out, never wear it again. I don't know. Nobody else knows either. Easy answer for that. But brothers and sisters, I got to say to my sisters, because really, I mean, I mean, got the Europeans just having a ball. She just smiling. I mean, we getting earrings in the bridges of our noses, and the chin, and the tongue, and the breast, and the stomach, and various other places. I'm going to say this to you, sister, and I'm saying this to you because I love you. Now, brothers, stop tripping. So what if I'm giving up the game? It ain't a game plan. Brother, oh, now you going to tell them how it go. I'm going to tell them the truth that black men don't like to tell because we get too many benefits from the whole thing. But the reality, sister, the message that we take, I'm not saying it's what you're trying to say. The message that we get when we see the earring here, in the tongue, in the belly, there was first thing I'm talking straight talk. I'm going to have fun playing with her. And if you don't want a man to see you and think that way, give him something else to pay attention to. Your mind, your discussion, something different, sisters, because we've been unfair to you. We've started this and you following in line and we're not telling you how we criticize you and ridicule you when you do these things. I love you and I'm just telling you that because you need to know it. The reality is body piercing is for faggots, dykes, whores, and various other cracks. I'm serious. Don't worry about it because you can take them out, so it's cool. But the crackers need to leave them in because that's who they are. We're going to go a little deeper now. Chancellor Williams, he tells us in our good book, we're going to the good book now. Don't argue with me and tell me I ain't right. This ain't coming from me. This coming from the good book. The Black Bible, he says, black people in Africa and over the world bear the names of our enslavers, which promotes a self-hatred that makes racial pride difficult. Now, we all know that we have the Europeans' names and Islamic names and various other names that are not African names. But when he tells us why the European does it, it makes it it's a real big thing. Now, look at me. We're going to get up there. I want you to pay attention now. I see some of y'all reading before we get there. The question, have you noticed that anywhere you go on the planet, you do not see any whites with African names? It's kind of strange, though, isn't it? Because they take everything else from us. They get locks and they try to play that. They do everything else. There's a reason. Chancellor Williams tells us, in order to completely destroy our African identity, black people are forced to change our names to Arabic and Christian names. Henceforth, if these black emails, Johns, Muhammad, Samuels, and Abdullahs achieve greatness in some field, the assumption will be that it was Caucasian achievement. The white race, see, they war on a whole different level. They understand, they capture the future of history today. See, everything we do today is going to be history tomorrow. This is history in the making. So what they realize, think about it. 1,000 years from now, the name and the face are not necessarily associated with each other. You read in the book, so you hear the name Nat Turner. Nat Turner was what? White. He was white. No. See, you know who Nat Turner is. You look at the name Nat Turner, Marcus Garvey. He was what? He's white. 1,000 years, you looking at a name, those are European names. Khalid Muhammad was what? He's an Arab. Think about it like this. If you look at the history of Rome, now some of us going, why would you want to know what the black people in Rome? Isn't America a white civilization? Yes, aren't we doing great things here? Yes, why do we think we didn't do them in Rome? Right. You know why we'll never know? Because his name was Constantine such and such. Right. He was just as black as us. He had just as much interest in the well-being of black people, but we lose our whole entire history of our race simply by not having names that identify our people. You got a name, and so I just want you to think about it for a moment, brothers and sisters. This is the thing. I know every night that I go to sleep, if I accomplish anything of any greatness, and if I pass it on to my children, it'll be credited to Kimathi. A name that no matter if you go back 1,000,000 years or go forward 1,000,000 years, it'll always be African. Ask yourself, do you want to descend in your graves, leaving behind all of your accomplishments, your ancestors' accomplishments, and your descendants' accomplishments to go and be credited to whites and Arabs? Or do you want to properly credit your own people? Hey, that's Chancellor Williams, Talk about racial identity. Do you realize that before we had interaction and contact with Europeans, we did not have a concept, much less a word. We didn't have a concept, an idea, that you could use one word to negatively talk about all different black people. Right. We didn't have one word that you could say this is a negative term that refers to black men. We didn't even know that nothing like that existed. But today, brothers and sisters, we see these white Europeans right here, right? We see they burn and lynch this brother for no reason like they always do, because they're racist. That's the reason. It's what they do. But what did they call him before they lynched him?
The N-word.
Huh?
The N-word.
They called him the N-word. And we see our sister right here. They raped her because she was protecting her son, lynched her son, threw her off the bridge and lynched her off the bridge. And while they were doing that, they called her what?
The N-word.
The N-word and another word. A black B. You know what I'm talking about. Brothers and sisters, the most commonly referred to term that black people use for black men today is nigger. The most commonly referred to term to refer to black women in America is bitch. We are literally, mentally, we see ourselves the way our enemies see us. Something that we did not even have a concept of. But when you get around Europeans and you're not fighting with them, then you start to become like them. And so the same thing that they saw when they lynched and did this and raped, that's why we can lynch and kill and rape each other today. Because that's the words that we use to describe each other. Let's talk about images. The master teacher, Astro Equazi, Sister Mary Equazi. Let's give them a hand. Can I get Appreciate that. He always says, images shape our reality. Let's talk about the images. Let's talk about it. I see some of y'all brothers going, oh man, what is that? No good, black man, no good. Other brothers going, man, what is that? That's how you're supposed to be. Sisters, y'all got all kind of negative terms coming out, calling her all out of name. This white heifer, this white whore, slut, this, that, and the other. You know, mad at me because I'm not going to call the white bitch a whore or nothing like that because we don't use that kind of language. We don't use that kind of language. We don't have to be vulgar to describe these sluts and scandalous cave-dwelling whores from the caves and hills of Europe. We're doing a decency movement next month. We're not going to use that kind of terms, even if it's true that they are a bunch of whores and scandalous whores and sluts and various other things. Had to get that in there, you know. Why is she up here? This is something that's been going on for thousands of years. When whites come around black people, they change our standards of beauty. A little bit later, we're going to talk about how they do it, just a little bit. But right now, we're going to talk about what happens when the standard of beauty is changed in the minds of black people. What impact does this integrated standard of beauty have on our people? What happens is, black men grow up thinking that the white female is the standard of beauty. Since they don't have access to white females, then the black man begins to value and chase after any woman who doesn't look black. If she's not black or close to white, she's the most preferable. If she is black, then if she's light-skinned and trying not to look black, then she's preferable. And so black women develop a serious, very quiet and unspoken, serious sense of self-hatred. Absolutely. And they begin, see, these become the standards of beauty when you talk to our young sons, and our daughters don't miss this. They just don't say anything. So they feel ugly and undesirable, and then some of the black women with the most beautiful features begin to chase that white standard of beauty. Tell the truth, bro. It destroys our people. We're killing our women quietly every single day. A good example of it is this guy, Richard. Let's get his brother a hand. His brother built and made some champions. We hear a lot of bad stuff about black men, but when do we hear about black men taking his daughters and working with them, working them hard to make them champions? Oh, I got to go back to this one. I'm sorry. He made a powerful statement, and I don't think he really understands this very well, but it's a powerful statement. He said, the white man hated me all my life, and I hate him right back. All right. And you say, wow, you know, why would that brother feel this way? You know why he feels this way? Because you would think that a black man in any world that does as great a job raising champions with his daughters as he did will be rewarded. But instead, the white boy never stops fighting. He said, okay, maybe I can't beat you. Maybe I can't divorce you from your daughters. Maybe I can't stop them from being champions. They're just too good. Right. But what I'll do is I'll take them totally from you, and I'll take them for myself. If that don't kill that black man in his soul, then what will? So he works all his life taking these beautiful young ladies. He raised them. He makes them champions. He puts them out there with respect. You see their braids, and they look like black women, and you can have pride, and they have dignity. And you're saying, whoa, they champions, and all of us get behind them, and we happy. And all of a sudden, they grow up to be grown women, and you say, man, we got champions amongst us. Don't nobody even care about tennis unless they playing. The white boy said, no, I got a trick. See, I know what self-esteem is in the black woman. I got a weapon against you. And so he makes them feel ugly. He constantly bombards them with the notion that they're not beautiful in their natural African selves, are they not beautiful black women, brothers and sisters? The way they come. But because of that constant bombardment that they're not acceptable and they're not good enough because they don't meet the white standard, the mama go out now, she blonde in her hair, she got to try to come into the games with a white boy. Serena, trying to whiten up her hair, trying to blonde it up, want to be as white as she can. Venus, all of them trying to chase that white standard of beauty. And when you chase that white female, that their standard of beauty, you're chasing a playboy, degenerate whore that roams the planet and nothing but a whore, then our sisters end up doing what? Trying to compete, going in public basically naked, treating themselves like whores, eventually ending both of them up with. Right back in the hands of the enslaved master. So the cracker looks, the devil looks Richard Williams right in the face, say, yeah, all that hard work you did, come right back to us, baby. All because of standard of beauty. Now, why is this so important? See, if these sisters, the champions that they are, the winners that they are, were wearing their natural hair, and if they were always constantly getting on television and saying, you know what? The people that inspire us are Queen Nzinga and Harriet Tubman. You know our little black girls all over the world who see them as icons would start wearing their hair natural because they want to be, everybody wants to be a champion. And there ain't nothing like seeing a black person beat up on some white folks. You're like, that's a real champion. But instead, they go around chasing the idea of white males, and what does it help our sisters to do? Fall into the trap of thinking the only thing that makes them beautiful, chasing that white standard. And that's what happens. We were in Ghana. And let me tell you something. Jamaica, Kenya, and Ghana, an epidemic problem with black women using skin lightening cream because they feel ugly because of their complexion. This is real, brothers. This is real. It's happening all over the world. Black women quietly dying on the inside. Right on me, a billboard on the side of the road, natural lightening care. I had a bottle I wanted to show you, but somebody moved the bottle, and I don't know where. Oh, here it is. Let me get this. Thank you, brother. I bought, look, it's so bad over there. I said, I got to buy this. I know nobody's going to believe me. Neuma, I don't know what Neuma means. Skin lightening body lotion. $1 million industries. Black women across the planet don't want to be black. Feel that they're ugly because they are black.
The disturbing trend of skin bleaching in Jamaica is on the increase across the whole of the island. Although its practice is mainly found in the poorer inner city garrison communities, where unemployment and the lack of basic literacy is rife, and where the ethnic majority of these communities are of African descent. The creams are illegal to buy over the counter, but their availability is now more accessible than ever. The Jamaican government is having a hard time stemming the flow of these products from entering the country. And now the practice of bleaching, which was once exclusive to women, has now spread to men and children. I wanted to find out more about the impact of this growing trend. My search led me to the garrison community of Torrington, where I talked to a family of bleachers and learnt more about why they do it. When did you first start to use bleaching creams?
Around 10 years now.
10 years? And you've used it consistently for 10 years?
Yeah.
Why do you think it got popular when people first started to do it?
People start bleach, them just like the style. It's just the style. Cause I came to the dermatologist every time I go in my quarrel. Miss Morris, this way you need to stop doing it. It's going to damage on your body. It's going to eat out on the skin after a time.
About 10 years ago, skin bleaching was unknown. We just didn't have the problem. Over the past 10 years, we've seen the problem from about the 90s until now. What happened is that something changed in the practice of dermatology in Jamaica and in a lot of countries, where ladies realized that they could use creams that were used for other things. And these creams, which were steroids basically, had the effect of causing hypopigmentation, that is lightening of the skin. And this was a side effect from these steroid creams, and they realized this, so they started to use these creams in order to get a lighter color.
If you did know someone in your community that had skin cancer, would that make you stop?
Yes, me really see somebody where it do, I really stop, because I don't want it to me that.
I know you let your daughter bleach. Do you not have a problem with her doing it?
No, I don't have a problem with her.
Even for their own health reasons, nothing?
No, Michelle, I don't have no problem with her.
It probably bleach long time, I can't ever count too much years. I bleach and stop and bleach and stop. So you give me a bus from my hand.
Some patients apply it around the eyes, which can lead to glaucoma. But if they apply it to their whole body, they can absorb enough steroid cream that can lead to diabetes or high blood pressure or something we call Cushing syndrome, where the face becomes round and they develop a powder fat at the back of your head and the back of your neck, and this can be quite disfiguring.
Do you think the creams should be illegal? Because they're illegal to buy here unless they're on prescription.
It sell in the wholesale in my town.
And them catch me out now, wholesale buy this, I'm going to lock me up. When I go in there, when I ball it out. People them know what bleach from now wholesale. Because if them still gloves up, them know say rubbings will come by. Nothing to sell hard that town like rubbings and ear and clothes. Even food not sell hard like bleaching. I lay up every day I talk, say, oh, if you have 150, we are going to go buy one of them here. Them say beauty bring pain and a style one, so I have to bear it.
We believe that by removing the melanin artificially, the skin, the cells in the skin become more susceptible to the damaging effects of ultraviolet light on them, and this can lead in years to come in an epidemic, to an epidemic of skin cancers.
My whole body, my rub with it, my whole entire body.
Every day?
Every day.
You know it can cause skin cancer.
That is true, the doctor tell me that. Cause it give me something in my face right here, so.
And you still didn't stop?
Yeah, but them time I was using the gel.
You have man prefer when you bleach, you have some that prefer. You have some that like when you bleach, no time at all. It's two choice. But right now the man them take it over from the woman them completely. Man them whiter than we.
Man them bleach too. Attract the girl them. That them can get more girl and them things.
So how long have you been bleaching for?
From about 13.
And you do it every day?
Yeah, 2 times a day.
And you rub everywhere or just your face?
Just my face.
If you ever go to the streets of Kingston, you'll find a lot of girls they call vampire. Their skin cannot take the heat of the sun, and so they only go out in the early mornings or at night because the skin itself is so sensitive to sunlight. And these people actually face a very serious problem.
Can you go out into the sun?
Yeah, I'm going out the sun off. I walk up and down, the sun have nothing to do. As I'm say walk in the sun, you sweat, better for your skin, peel off more better. If you're cool, you not do nothing, not jerk you. For bleach now, we come out now, we have our socks, with tights and one pants, and sometimes we have all 4 shorts. Even from this, 4 of them things, yeah, whole gloves up. Then we have to take all the plastic and wrap up our skin, come way up, our belly. So you know, so we walk now, we sweat, and by 5 minutes now, just take it off, go in the bathroom and warm water, lean back in it, so you see the dead skin of them rise off. So you know, so later the dance, I read that in the video. But I can't talk to you again, white.
If you could have been born brown, would you have been, or would you have been born the way you are? If you had a choice?
As I said, if you have a colour, still a tone. I know people in you have a colour, still tone. So it don't make no sense.
So it's like a fashion thing.
Right. That every time they're born, you know, you just say, stop rubbing and by next week again I do that.
People believe that if you have a fairer skin, it's easier for you to get a job, it's easier for you to get business breaks, it's easier for you to get married, etc. I've had patients, for instance, telling me up front, you're telling me not to bleach, but everybody I know bleaches, so something must be wrong with you. It's very simple. If you sit down with smokers, they'll tell you nothing's wrong with smoking.
As I left Jamaica, I was saddened by what the Morris family had shown me and alarmed at how acceptable this dangerous practice has become. But given the many arrests for the sale of bleaching lotions in Britain, it seems they might be a tiny part of a worrying global trend.
Brothers and sisters, is killing our people. I talked to a sister on the way back from Kemet one year. Dark-skinned, beautiful sister. We were talking, and I always try to get nailed down. I said, look, you're dark-skinned. Did you have problems growing up? She said, yeah, I did. She had real self-esteem issues. I said, did you ever cry? She said, did I cried all the time? So, I want to ask specific questions. I said, well, from 5 to 15, you think you cry once a week, twice a week? You know what the sister said? I'm always trying to get extra. I wasn't prepared for this answer. She said, from that age, 5 to 15, she said, no, I cried every day. She said, I came home from school and I cried. She said, that was my life. Wow. She said, my young life was spent hating myself. See, I hated myself so much, I went to my grandmother, who was dark as well. I said, Grandma, you know, I'm so dark and ugly, what can I do? She said, don't worry about it, baby. Just keep using the Ambien, eventually it'll just get better. Which is a whole nother story, because we know that her grandmother must have had years feeling the same way. Brothers and sisters, our women are quietly dying because of a standard of beauty problem that is easy for us to fix, black men. I want to show this right now because it's a very interesting video. A young sister, she was 15 years old. And she did this video. It's called Girl Like Me, and it was very, very well done. And I want you to listen and see the impact that these white standards of beauty are having on our people. Y'all ready?
Yes.
All right.
Make you want to cry.
Our ancestors came to this country, and they were pretty much ripped out of their culture. You know, they couldn't speak their language. They couldn't, you know, they couldn't be themselves. They had to be like what everybody else told them to be.
I think for a black girl in general, it's like you're missing a piece of you, you know? And for me, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't have any actual heritage, not heritage, but culture. Like, I know I'm from Africa, but, you know, the different countries in Africa have their different cultures, their different morals, their different values. And not knowing that, it sort of keeps us at a loss. And I feel like we're busy searching for it while everybody else in society is throwing their ideas and what they believe we should be at us. But, you know, personally, we know that's not what we should be, but we're gonna take it because we don't know exactly what it is that we should be, because we don't really know where we came from.
In Brown versus Board of Education, the famous case that desegregated schools in the 1950s, Dr. Kenneth Clark conducted a doll test with black children. He asked them to choose between a black doll and a white doll. In most instances, the majority of the children preferred the white doll. I decided to reconduct this test as Dr. Clark did to see how we've progressed since then. Can you show me the doll that you liked best or that you'd like to play with?
This one. I like that one.
Okay.
This one.
That one?
This one. I like to play with this.
And can you show me the doll that is the nice doll? And why is that the nice doll?
He's white.
And can you show me the doll that looks bad? Okay. And can you and why does that look bad?
Because it's black.
And why do you think that's a nice doll?
Because she's white.
And can you give me the doll that looks like you? "15 out of the 21 children preferred the white doll.
When I watched it the first time, the brother stole my thunder. I said, wow, you know, black people all over this planet have a multitude of issues, and we quietly suffer every single day in ways that we don't need to. Black women do not have to feel bad about who they are. We should have fixed this problem a long time ago. Why haven't we? Because we integrated with Europeans. And when you integrate with white folks, you become afraid to tell your children what they need to hear to save them, because you're so busy worrying about insulting or offending somebody else. And so our women go around the world quietly having self-hatred imposed upon them, when it's something simple as a black man. We can fix this, brother. When we reward our women for their natural beauty, that's what they will be going after. But as long as we're rewarding them, everybody else for not being black, and rewarding females for being as least black as they can be, this problem will continue. This is our brother, Carlos Cook. Show this brother some love. Let me tell you, this 1963, one day you're going to have to really do some stuff on Carlos. This is a strong brother. Miss National Standard of Beauty Contest. Got black women. You can't wear nothing but your natural hair. Got the buy black signs. These brothers were serious. They understood that if our women don't feel valuable and they don't feel beautiful and desired, that not only are they going to have to deal with that self-destructive self-hatred, but every one of us in our community, including our children, are going to have to deal with that pain. And so they said, we're going to build the standard of beauty and the self-esteem in our women. So he had things like this. You know, PKB, we're not into pickets very much, but this one picket I'd have been at. They started a store in New York City. And they started bringing in these wigs and all this white stuff. And the brother, he said, we're going to get our brothers out there. And you see here, they got the sign that says natural yes, wigs no. Got the sister with her puff ball right there. You got the sister that said, no, sister. These brothers were actually outside picking and saying, black woman, we want you the way that you come naturally. Not some carbon copy or some cave-dwelling whore from the caves and hills of Europe. If we wanted her, we would go there and get her. And so sisters can feel good about themselves. Brothers and sisters, it's not hard to change the standards of beauty in our community. I remember when I was very young, I love to show this picture. When I was very young, first time I saw this picture, and I don't remember how young I was, but I said, man, that's a beautiful woman. I said, she's real pretty. And I said, whoever she is, she looks strong too. I want a wife like that one day. Wow. And I'm saying, in talking about establishing standards of beauty, I just want to make this point. Please take it in a mature fashion. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. I am not saying that one complexion is better than another, nor am I saying that a light-skinned or brown-skinned person cannot represent the race. But understand where I'm coming from with this. Listen, when whites have a standard of beauty, it's the whitest, blondest, blue-eyed individual. Why? Because what makes them white, what separates them from others is their whiteness. Right. And therefore, that is their standard. It doesn't mean it's better than anything, but when you say white, that's what you think. Right. We are the darkest race of people on this planet. Right. When we have a standard of beauty, and we don't know the person, our standard should be the jet black person. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we come out of the jet black seed. That is us. Right. So if we're light-skinned, brown-skinned, when you see Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, that jet black warrior, it said, that's me. That's us. That's us. It doesn't mean nothing to do with one being better. That is the race that we come from. Right. But there's a second piece for us as a race of people we have to consider when we talk about standards of beauty. What was so beautiful about this woman is once I got old enough to learn who she was and what she did, then she had a whole second degree of beauty. Because she was a warrior that fought for our race. Right. And what I'm saying with that, our standards of beauty need to be twofold. Not only is the standard of beauty, if we don't know anything about the person, just because we're black is black. But, and the masses, the vast majority of our people are dark, but what did the person do? That got to count for some beauty too. Because it ain't just how you look. How did the person live their life? That's when we talk about standards of beauty and the things that we see on our walls, that's what we got to consider. Who was this person and how do they represent us? And so I'm saying, brothers and sisters, let's change these standards of beauty because they are killing our people. Integration is killing us. Black criminality. One of the things that we don't consider, and Dr. John Henry Clark talked about it. Before Europeans came, we didn't have no jails. Because black people in general live within the confines of whatever their rules were. Did we have wars? Yeah, people fight all the time. This group want the land, you want the land, y'all go out there, y'all agree to fight, you fight, whoever win, keep the land, whoever lose, don't get the land. Right. But we did not have criminals. But whenever Europeans come among any race of people on the planet Earth, they leave behind their sick, savage behavior. And one of the things you find is this whole thing that we call black criminality. Dr. Chancellor Williams tells us about this. The fierce Jaga warriors were a roaming African tribe that seemed to be nothing more or less than bloodthirsty barbarians who engaged in warfare for the sheer thrill of warfare. Since the Jaga generally waged war only against other Africans, the Portuguese were less hesitant in supplying them with guns. Brothers and sisters, when a European comes around, who are we talking about? He creates an element, particularly in the youth, that is deviant, violent, and brutal. And even if he walks out physically, it's something that races and people all around the planet have to deal with. I remember, I don't know how many people know that the brothers know what I'm talking about, but when you're young, particularly if you're not a criminal, the interactions you have with the police become very clear that police hate you and want to kill you. And I will never forget, not knowing gangster rap hadn't existed yet. I remember the first time I heard this song, it was called F the Police. Right. Understand where I'm coming from now. As a black man, young black youth who've been brutalized by police officers, you develop this real hatred for them because you know that they want to keep you down. You know that there's some kind of force that one day we're going to have to get past them to have any real success in movement. And you just know that at a young age. Right. And this brother, they made a song. He said, I'm a brother on he didn't use the word brother. He said, I'm a brother on the warpath. And when I finish, it's going to be a bloodbath of cops dying in L.A. Dre, I got something to say. And in the naivety of my own black revolutionary mind, I said, man, the Bloods and the Crips are going to get together, and they're going to stop killing each other, man, and they're going to give these whiteys what they deserve.
Did you believe that, bro?
I swear to God, I heard it, I said, we going to be free. I said, they kill anything. The jogger will kill nobody but me and you, brothers and sisters. If we want revolution, if we want revolutionary youth, we're going to have to raise them from here.
Wow.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that none of our brothers and sisters can come out if you've been involved in crime. I'm not saying you can't come out. Africans can always come home. That's what Sankofa's about. But I'm telling you, if you're an African trying to do something in our community and you spending any amount of time hoping that these monsters in our community that rape our women, that steal from our people, that kill our people selflessly, if you think them monsters are coming on our side, I'm going to give you the news. Baragani. They ain't coming. They're going to kill me and you, and that's all most of them going to do. I mean, I've gotten to the point in my life, and it's really starting to bother me. I'm telling the truth now. I can honestly say now, and I'm trying to work on this, I'm developing a serious hatred for criminals, though. I mean, I knew it was really bad when I was sitting around with the brothers, and there was a brother recently down, 2 brothers in Texas that got shot. White boy said they breaking into a home across the street, and the white boy said, I'm going to go over there and shoot him. And the white boy went over there and shot both of them dead. And for the first time in my life, I ain't never been like brothers and sisters. I always take black people's side, particularly against white folks. First time in my life, I didn't feel anything. And I was like, what's happening to me? But I started realizing, you know, it took me a long time. I didn't feel nothing for them. And I started realizing what was happening. You know, the relationship that whites have had to black people for all the 1,000 years we've been around has been a criminal relationship. They steal from us. You try to give them something, they cheat you out of it. They murder us, they kidnap us. That's criminality, what white folks do to black people. So when a black face does it, sometimes it hurts even more than because you expect the European, the devil, to do it. But when your brothers and sisters acting like a European, the only thing different is the color of his skin at that moment. I'm sick of criminals. We're not going to get nowhere with Jogger, because the Jogger are not going to turn around. Look, he got on red, he got on blue. They got blue and white. They got red and white. What color they got in common? White. Red, white, and blue. And the same thing that the red, white, and blue flag gave us is what these Negro monsters running savagely around our community, listening to savage music, killing, raping, murdering. I mean, the black community is savage. It's a criminal. Look, I'm telling you, y'all know what I'm talking about. $30,000 job. You don't want to go to nobody else but a black man. You give him $10,000 to start the job on Monday. On Wednesday, on Friday. I think this fool done gone away with my money. Now you gotta go crack somebody. Well, I don't know what you're gonna do. I wouldn't do it, but I know some people who would, and I wouldn't be mad at $10,000 a lot of money. That's how we doing each other. Can't trust a black person nowhere. That we are becoming the worst attributes of the European. That savage, liar, deceit, our word don't mean nothing. I mean, brothers, I'm going to be there Saturday. I'm going to be there. You know, the black man's word is so worthless now. I don't even hear brothers when they tell me this stuff. They start talking, I start hearing, wah. I said, is Charlie Brown on or something? I don't even listen no more. Until I see it. Seeing is believing for me. That's not us, brothers and sisters. It's not us. I do want to say this, though, because I'm going to say this. I know it's harsh, but at this point in my life, look, I'm not lying. we really faced with a dilemma. I think about this. I say, I got to go to my ancestors. I got to say, they're going to say, you get up there, I'm ready for them to, welcome me there. And they say, why didn't y'all build the schools? Why didn't y'all do the stuff you're supposed to do? Right. Why didn't we do it? Well, because some bootleggers was in the way and they kept stealing the money. My ancestors don't want to hear that. Right. They had to fight crackers chopping your leg off you. They don't want to hear that. Right. So my thing is, this is a train that's coming. If you're in the way, damn it, you in the way of the train. What's going to happen? Gotta go. Ain't my fault. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing for thieves from the black community. We're not going to get nowhere with criminals. And we got to stop being tolerant of it. I love black people, but when you act like crackers, you should get treated like crackers should get treated. We got to get real with it. And I'm saying that, but I got to say this. I got to make a shout out. There's a brother named Bone out in L.A. I don't know him, but he did this special called Bastards of the Party. I want everybody to see that. I would have gave him an A because it was about the Panthers and how the games came out of that. I would have gave him an A+, but at the end of it, I got to give you an A-. Because he told us that the N-word was bad and that's why we kill each other. Then at the very end, he played a song with the N-word going through. I said, no, brother, you can't get us there, then take us back. Come on. But one thing he did that I really appreciate him, I really appreciate this brother. Now I want you to understand he's a gamer, he's a killer. What he does for a living and has done his whole life is kill black people. But he said he had a good friend. And his friend had 2 sons. And they grew up and they were 18 and he always told his friend, if anything ever happens to you, I'll take care of these sons for you, man, like they're my own. And he did that. He kept his word. And one day the police came and got him, said, hey, come on over here, man. You know how the police always want to start fuel these wars between black people. Hey, you know, our twin got killed. One of the twins got murdered. And the Crips did it. What you gonna do? And the brother that was interviewing, whoever was interviewing him, looked at him and said, so if you saw the killers, a twin, what would you do? And the brother's eyes started welling up. Sure did. And you can see him thinking real hard because he now understand he's a killer. That's what he does. And everybody that knows him, they're out there in LA, they know him by name, they say, oh, he's a killer. They know. Right. But he did something that's real important. He said, you know, I'm going to tell my people what they need to hear. Right. He said, if I saw the twins kill, they said, maybe I might go give them some work or something, but the most important thing I can say to you is I wouldn't kill them. Right. He broke ranks with everybody. Right. Now, he was lying at the very moment. I'll tell you right now, don't be the person that killed twins. I wouldn't be that guy walking in the room. But this is why I appreciate it. More important than some phony allegiance he has to a jogger, black trash that would just go killing black people, more important than that, he said, I got to have the braveness and the heart to say, stop killing each other. So that the next brother that's out there he really don't want to keep killing black people, he's sick of it. But he don't have the courage or he don't know what to do. He can hear a killer like himself say that, and he can say, man, if he can say that, I can say that too. I really don't want to do this. We can start to change things. So I really, let's show that brother some love for saying that. I'm going to tell you why it's important. If he can look in the camera and say that on Monday, by Wednesday he can start to believe it. By Friday, maybe if he saw that brother, he wouldn't kill him. Maybe he'd get involved in this struggle and go forward and help our people. So we got to say, black people, you can always come home. I'm not saying there's no hope. I want to show this, though, because in saying all of that, the reality, hearing me say it and seeing it for yourself are 2 different things. Listen to what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. As African people, when we are not integrated with Europeans, we do not have a such thing called crime. Let's take a look at it. Y'all all right?
All right, sir.
Uh-oh, y'all, when the youth said, that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, David. Yes, sir. He said, yes, sir. We got the youth. Oh, you know we got some war going on in here today.
It's my theory, Dr. Epstein, that children in America, teenagers, adolescents, are getting more violent, all right? And that these kinds of things, because of technology where you can tape it and then have yucks about it later, are driving this kind of sociopathic behavior. Am I right or wrong?
You're basically right. First of all, things are definitely getting worse, and this incident in Las Vegas is a very, very tiny drop in a very big bucket.
Is there a why behind this problem?
I've been able to track around the world where Western culture and Western schooling is put in place. We go from a culture where there are no teen problems whatsoever. I mean, none. Zero violence, zero drugs.
Where is that?
We're different countries in Africa. We're talking about Taiwan. We're talking about Japan. I've documented it virtually all over the world at this point. I'm working on a book.
But Japan has a high school system.
They most certainly do. But wherever Western practices, Western television, Western media, movies, and a school system where all those things come into play, the problem just grows and grows and grows.
Let me get this thing right. Let me get this mic. I gotta get back on this microphone now. Boy, when white folks start talking, I'm gonna tell you something. He told me something. Now, I'll be honest with you. I knew that Europeans made it worse, but I'll be honest. If I had come up here to have that dialogue before, I would have said, you know, there's small, minor problems in every culture around the world, criminality, but when Europeans come, they just make it much worse. The Europeans straightened me out. He said, no, my friend. Ain't no such thing as crime, particularly in youth. There's no such thing as youth delinquency until Europeans come in your society. That's heavy, ain't it? Right. What we talking about? I know some of my elders. You 50s, if you 60 years old or older, I know the world. I mean, you remember washing them white folks' walls and washing their floors and working for them white folks and listening to their children, if you want to call them little things children. I mean, you know how they used to scream and yell and run around and rip stuff and fight adults and curse them, "Mama, you're a bee," and all this crazy stuff. And you used to go home and say, boy, maybe they got money, maybe they got power, but they ain't got near bit of sense at all. You go home to your children and all we ever heard was yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, and no ma'am. I know it's got to be surreal for my elders to walk outside today and see our youth are worse than anything that the European has ever produced in his trashy race. I mean, part of African culture from time immemorial, forever, that means before time, children respect adults. Adults charge themselves with the responsibility of giving youth good advice. That's who we are. And now when we look around, it's surreal. I mean, there's no respect whatsoever from our youth. We asked for integration with white folks, we got it. Our youth are acting just like their youth from the past. I want to put this up here as we talking about respecting elders. This is a very difficult, this is a real painful situation. This sister named C. Dolores Tucker. And she came out, I don't know much about the sister, what I do know is what she did near the end of her life. She said, this music that's being financed by white so-called Jews, we call them small hats, is paying black men, black young males, to call our daughters bitches and whores and every other nasty term you can think of, and we gotta shut them down. And do you know that these white Jewish executives, small hat executives, got the Negroes in the so-called hip-hop industry? Turn your electronic devices off, please. We serious here today. Ain't no message you're gonna be getting gonna be more important than the one you're getting right now, so you just put that one on hold. Matter of fact, next time it happens, just answer and say, I ain't no integration, so hang it up, all right? But this sister said it's gotta stop. And this brother made a song, Tupac. See Dolores Tucker use an MF'er. Instead of trying to help her end, you destroy her, brother. And a lot of our people, I mean many of our people, most of our people took the side of the hip-hop. Why is she trying to go after them? Let me say something. To set the record straight, peace be upon our sister, she was right. Not only did this Negro not have the right to talk to an elder like that, but she was right. So he doubly didn't have the right to do it because we should not be calling our people out of their names. I want to set the record straight. And I want to say this whole filth industry of hip-hop is destroying African people to our very core. It's a filthy, degenerate, horrible thing. Now about Tupac, I'm apologizing on behalf of this brother and our generation for what we said and did to this sister and what we have done to our elders. I apologize on behalf of our generation. It's wrong, and I also apologize to the youth for leaving you behind nothing but trash. You're going to be charged with the responsibility, though, of changing it, so we're going to do the best we can to get you back on track. And so on behalf of this sister, we want to say thank you, sister, you were right, and we're going to carry on your fight. We're going to fight this, and we got to say to the youth, even when you disagree, you never disagree disrespectfully to our elders. Shooting them two white boys that was harassing that black man, Tupac, you were right. Songs like Dear Mama, Keep Your Head Up, you were right. But when you curse our sisters and call them all kind of terrible terms and do the same and talk about killing our brothers, brother, you dead wrong. And speaking of dead wrong, you want to talk about the full consummation, the total, it's almost surreal. We call hip-hop, we call it the white drum. Because you got the rhythm of Africa going with it, but the mentality of the European out of caves and hills of Europe. We use this song all the time. This is a hip-hop icon. Biggie Smalls, this song Dead Wrong. I'm shooting babies, no ifs, ands, or maybes. Kicked honey in the tummy if the hooker plays the dummy. I slit the wrist of little sis after he talks about how he rapes the little girl. I stabbed her brother with an ice pick. He says I found her father hiding in a room and I effed him with a broom. I'm wearing rubbers so they won't trace the semen. I'm the black demon. I got the little hookers screaming. Because you know I like it young, fresh, and green with no hair in between. Know what I mean? And this ain't just this song. This is hip-hop in general. This is hat-hop, this degenerate death system that's killing our people. This ain't us, though. That's white folk shooting babies, not caring about black folk. We don't shoot no babies. raping little children? I'm the black demon. We ain't never been proud to be evil. Even when we was doing wrong, person be in the community doing wrong, just came out of jail. They gonna get the best suit they got and walk outside because we want to look proud like we ain't been doing nothing wrong. Now they got us like them. Degenerate. I mean, Cracker will take a bomb and blow up a little village and be like, oh, shocking, oh, I blew it up. And you be like, how do you be proud to go and murder? That's the Cracker. That ain't us. That's why we call him the Cracker. Because our ancestors said he would take the whip and crack it on our back. And that was the Cracker Man. We call him the Cracker because he goes out and makes a drug that's cheap enough for black people to kill ourselves with it. And he calls it crack. And one who would crack is a what? A cracker. So we call him the Cracker because he cracked the foundation of the black community, which is the black woman, by feeding his filth to our people. He's a goddamn, no, he's a devil damn cracker. Yesterday, he's won today, and as long as he's on this planet, I'm going to call him a cracker. I hope you would join me in that I got to remind our people, we did not come from the caves and hills of Europe, brothers and sisters. This is the European. All of this filth we talking about, we remember we talked about them. The warfare, destruction, the child. This is not us. They have us in a death system. We call it hip-hop, a culture. That's an anti-culture. All it is our rhythm over their mentality of destruction and devastation. That's all it is. It's complete, absolute integration where you take the soul and the spirit out of the African, put the European inside of them, put on a good drum beat and say dance and show me what you can do. That's what they do, bro. And if we're not careful, brothers and sisters, we're talking about culture here. The impact of integration, culture with Europeans. We don't watch it real closely, brothers and sisters. Before we know it, all over this planet, we'll be running, enslaving our own brothers and sisters, hanging each other, mutilating each other, committing massive genocides, raping each other. This is Liberia. Raping so many sisters. They got billboards on the side of the road. Hey, if you've been raped, come on in. Let us help you. Brothers kissing and lesbians in our community. I mean, we acting just like white folks. In fact, the European has managed to integrate history. Our history was one, we came out of a warm climate conducive to cooperation. He came out of a savage, monstrous place, violent place, cold, harsh, cheats and warfare all the time, sexual abuse, murder, rape, and torture. And anywhere you go on this planet, black people now are being remade. We are subject to sexual abuse. No child is safe in our community. We're subject to homosexuality. We're subject to bombings and murder and warfare all over the place. The European has made the planet, the caves and hills of Europe for African people. I mean, the brothers had one song. They said, it's a war going on outside. No man is safe, son. You can run, but you can't hide forever. That ain't black. We talk about picnics on barbecues on Saturday with the family coming over. That's the stuff we sing about. This European has changed this entire world to a savage place. He's fully integrated us mentally and physically into his world, and we are becoming chocolate-covered Europeans, brothers and sisters. And so we say, look here, we got to get back to our own culture. Jomo Kenyatta, he was a Negro.
No doubt.
I mean, a Tom, but it's a very, very powerful statement. He said, culture gives a man his dignity as well as his material prosperity. And that's powerful. When we establish who we are, our own characteristics, how do we interact with one another? When we reestablish who we are, not only will we feel good about who we are, and we'll do things that are in our own best interest, but above that, we'll be able to finance our own change. PKV is a prime example. We live for the very purpose of serving our people. That's what we do all day long. Now, when we just deal with the thieves in our community, you'll actually begin to see prosperity grow up all around you. Our schools, our institutions, our buildings, and everything. And then you'll see the pride that can come out of black people when we build. That's how we're supposed to be. So brothers and sisters, it's time for us to get back to being black and knowing what it means to be black and what black behavior. And that means adults, we don't abuse and violate our children. We protect them. Black man, we don't curse and violate our women. We protect them and we crack the heads of those who come at them in an inappropriate manner. And black women, you don't shoot down and try to kill black manhood. You praise it. You worship it. You tell him he's the best thing the world has ever seen. And when you watch him go chop that white boy's head off, you say, oh, baby, good job. Make him a good dinner, too. We got to change some things. All right? Y'all all right?
All right.
We ain't going to go deep into this, brothers and sisters. We ain't going to go deep in this because I said we're going to be stepping on some toes in here today. We don't even want to talk about the sexual madness that's going on in the black community. I mean, no, sir, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm only going to mention it. I'm not going to say why I'm not going to talk about it, but we ain't going to go too deep into it. I don't want to step on my own toes, too. But I'm going to say this. We have a whole series of things dealing with the sexual madness going on in our community, brothers and sisters. In Feminization of the Black Male Series, Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, we have Predators in Our Midst, which deals with the epidemic of child sexual abuse in the black community. We have the book, War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the White Sex Assault. And if you're interested in any of these products, you can go to that number there you see, or either one of the websites and purchase it. I don't want to spend a lot of time with this because we got a lot of ground to cover, but suffice it to say, brothers and sisters, the European was, and will always be a completely sexually degenerate monster on this planet. I mean, from them savagely, the homos grabbing our children, to their sexual perversion, to the masochism, to the love that they've always had for whatever reason. They found the little white male as the most desirable sexual object, and now they got organizations like NAMBLA, whose sole stated purpose is to go after little boys. This is a boy right here. This is their bulletin publication. Even Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the two transvestites that do South Park, got episodes I love now. I mean, just a feel. I mean, what does that mean? North American Man-Boy Love Association. They were part of, they were part of the inception of the gay rights movement. Pedophiles were a major source in the whole gay rights movement. That's what we got to understand. Look, come on, this is bad. Anytime you got a presidential candidate that's a transvestite, this Rudy Giuliani. I mean, Fruity Giuliani. I mean, listen, he's a transvestite. On a regular basis, he's dressing with in females' clothing. You know that when the planes hit the towers, do you know where he was living? He had divorced his other wife. He was living with two homosexuals he knew from college. He was living in their condo. And I wouldn't live with a homosexual, period, but a condo definitely ain't big enough. I might live in a city with a fag, but I ain't living in no house with one, and much less a condo. Might have been a one-room, I don't know. Going over to Iraq, I mean, the bestiality, I mean, brothers and sisters, but the problem, we expect them to be like that. But when Martin Luther King said, we want little black boys and little white boys to be holding hands, well, we got your integrated dream. We holding hands now. Has it helped us at all? And no matter how you turn this thing, we are getting turned out. You cannot walk a day on this planet. Look, if you're in the D.C. area, I'm sure the Los Angeles area, Atlanta, I ain't even going to say the word. Oh, man, did I say the word Atlanta? Whoa. You can't even say, listen, any major metropolitan area, we're going to do a lecture. We got to do one soon on lesbianism. It is now part of black culture. I'm not going to say it's coming there. Lesbianism is black culture now. We went out recently, and Brother Cush almost had to punch me in the face because I refuse to believe that we saw as many lesbians as we saw, because I just don't want it to be real. We didn't see a straight Sister Holly. I mean, I was like, man, this is outlandish. Brothers and sisters, we are getting turned out completely. Now, that's your boy. That ain't my boy. He was my boy, he'd be dead. I want him dead. I'm not going to lie to you. I said like this. I want to be proud of the day when somebody blows his goddamn brains out, and I can say, well, I had something to do with that. He urinated on my daughter. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I want him dead. I want to be, listen, y'all think I'm joking. I don't drink and I don't smoke. But I might take me a sip that night. Look, brothers and sisters, we live in Rome. To some degree, we've learned some real bad habits. To some degree, we do some of the things the Romans do. I ain't going to shoot too hard at nobody because I have to shoot it myself. I mean, some of us taking some trips to Italy. Some of us a little worse. We've been to France. But now, we got to stop the madness somewhere, brothers and sisters. And I'm saying, there's some places got to stop. Men cannot be sexually engaged with other men. There's no room anywhere among Africans for that misbehavior. Women cannot be sexually engaged with one another nowhere on this planet as Africans is unacceptable. Adults cannot go after children sexually. It is unacceptable. You should not be able to walk anywhere amongst us, nowhere among us, unless you can walk horizontally. It's unacceptable. And I'm saying to my brothers and sisters on the African continent in particular, you got the kind of power there that we don't have here. Finish this problem. Deal with it now. You have no idea what it's going to mean for you in the future. Let's stop going and traveling in the caves and hills of Europe acting like white folk. Africans do not have male-male sexual relationships. We do not have female-female relationships. We do not have adult sexual interaction with children on any level. Is unacceptable. If you've done it, never do it again. And we got to go out here and make it stop, brothers. That's our responsibility to our future generation. At least we can give them that. At least we can give a little black child the solace and the understanding that they don't have to be sexually ravaged. If we can get that accomplished before we leave this planet, we've done something major for the future of our race. I put this Negro up here. I mean, urinating on our daughter. I said, you know, a lot of times, you know, you got quotes and stuff about stuff. And I said, you know, pedophilia is so far out of African culture. I don't know if anyone's ever made a specific quote for it. So I said, well, you know what I did. If ain't nobody else done it, why not do it? I said, the new African is committed to ensuring that any person who sexually abuses a black child has simultaneously dug his or her own grave. That's got to be our position, brothers and sisters. Suffice it to say, y'all ain't sound too enthusiastic about that. What, y'all like pedophiles or something? I don't understand. That's one I'd have stood up on. Look, I'm being serious. It's part of my life's work. I wanna die knowing that on some level, if I can look my ancestors in the face and my youth in the face and say, I did everything I could do to stop you from suffering sexual abuse. I tried. I want to be able to at least say that I tried. We gotta work, brothers and sisters. This is the most important thing we can do for the sanity of our people, is to stop this madness in our communities. So now we talked about earlier, now we gotta get right down. We're talking about real integration. Let's talk about it. Miscegenation, race mixing. It's a statement by Astro Kwesi. I thought it was a very powerful statement. He said, for any black man to sleep with a white woman is like spitting in your mother's womb. That's a graphic thought, ain't it? That's what it is, though, brothers and sisters. We don't understand what happens. So I said, you know, how do we approach this? I can sit up here and tell you how wrong it is. I said, let's talk about warfare. Let's talk about strategy. Let's talk about why the black male, how it's done. How is it that the black male sees the white female as the standard of beauty? You see it right here? Now I want to do this, brothers and sisters. We don't have time to really get in depth with this, but I want you to understand, for over 5,000 years, they used different warfare tactics, psychological warfare tactics, in the black community, all over the world. This is what the European has done to create the white female as the standard of beauty amongst black people. I'm doing this because so many sisters ask me, why do our brothers do this when they make money? Why do they always abandon us? What are we doing wrong? I want you to understand what you're doing wrong is we're not teaching our children responsibly as it relates to race.
There you go.
It is warfare. Take a look right here. And once again, I'm only going to do this. We're going to take a look at some things because I just want to plant the seed in your mind for you to understand it is not a natural state of affairs that black men naturally prefer women other than black women. Men are naturally curious about women outside their race, but they don't naturally prefer them. It is warfare targeted at the minds of black males that creates this. So we see right here, we see who is the object of his affection here. Targeting them at a very young age. We're about to watch two clips very quickly, brothers and sisters. We're going to watch two clips, and this is what we're going to do. I want you to imagine for a minute, I want you to think about the fact that as black people, let me just get this thing going here. As black people, we teach our children almost nothing about race. As a matter of fact, what we tell our children, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter the race of who you fall in love with. What matters is their character and that you love the person, so forth and what have you. Isn't that what we teach our children? Very few of us tell our child, the only acceptable partner for you, young lady, will be a black man. Very few of us teach our child, look, young lady, young man, the only acceptable partner for you when you get older will be a black male. Very few of us tell our children, hey, if you date outside the race, you abandon me, you leave me. Now some people are smiling at me because they say I did that. No, I didn't say you suggested. I'm saying very few of us talk straight talk. You ain't coming in my house. I don't know too many people who talk like that. This is what I tell my young people in my family, and you can go ask them, they remember these things. I said, there's 3 things you can't do, I don't know you. Anything else you do, I love you, we'll work it out. You can't be no pedophile, that's no children. You can't be no faggot, and you can't be no cracker lover. I'm not dealing, the only thing I don't like worse than crackers is cracker loving Negro. I'm telling you, I'm not dealing with it. If you make that decision, know that you've divorced me. Don't say, well, I won't speak to you. You decided you weren't going to speak to me. Why do I do it? Because if we teach our children right, if we teach them when they're young and they know it's wrong, look, dating outside your race, particularly dating whites in particular, is just as wrong as stealing. It's wrong like it's wrong. Forget all these fancy, it's wrong. It's inherently wrong. The only acceptable partner for an African is another African. And so I'm saying, brothers and sisters, we're going to watch this because I want us to understand how do they target our youth so that the end result is what we see all of these brothers running after white females. Y'all ready? We're going to look at cartoons. We're going to look at cartoons. I know you're saying, why are we going to look at some cartoons? Because I want you to understand, while we're sitting around not thinking about warfare, Europeans are warring on every single possible level. Why cartoons? Cartoons are directed towards who? Let's see what the message in this cartoon is. Now, I just want you to stop. I know people saying, well, I mean, you know, okay. If it's a cartoon, somebody had to draw that, right? Is it possible that it's an accident that the young white female was dating a black man?
No, sir.
Is it possible somebody accidentally colored them black? Then what's the message? I want you to notice the characteristics of that black man. He's a football player, right? Big, strong black man. So who is supposed to be the object of the strong, successful black male's affection? The white female. Now, why are they putting this in cartoon? Who are they targeting? Who's sitting down looking up at this and saying, I want to be like that? What is my prize when I'm like that? I only showed that one because that one don't really get it done. I only showed it because I didn't want anybody to say, well, he's just picking stuff out. Now I'm going to show you how they do it. Look, while we going to work and doing everything we doing and not being racially responsible, the white folks are not like that. They are telling our children, giving them a message. Let's take a look. We're going to look at one more of these that gives the message to our sons. Important to understand. This is called the Justice League. It's the Super Friends. You know, Superman and all these superheroes. You know children like superheroes, right? All right. Ain't no child show. We the only one childing around. Other people have agendas. See, white folks, they war on a whole different level, brothers and sisters. They have whole different objectives. While we sitting around telling our children it don't matter who they go after, black woman, the European is stealing your husbands. He's stealing your husbands from your daughters. He's training, because what this is really about, brothers and sisters, what it's really about is targeting black people economically. See, the white female is the recruit and always has been. When black people had powerful nations, he recruited the white female to go in and marry into those bloodlines so they could seize power from black people. Well, you say, well, we don't have any powerful empires today. No, we don't. But the European knows that there's one class that can change and get a people out of their condition, and that's the group that can finance revolution. There is no revolution without finance. And so what the Europeans said, since we're going to allow whites, black people in and let them integrate into the society, the richest, the most powerful, the most successful black men, white female, you go after them and you arrest their development. We never have to worry about them giving a penny or spending one moment trying to help their race. That's why you see Bill Cosby with all his riches helping black people. Who does he have at home? He got to go home to a black woman who looks him in the face and says, look at our condition. You have better, so you should do better. Do any of these niggas, we're looking at billions of dollars go before us, brothers and sisters. Billions of dollars of resource. Billions, some maybe even more than that. Power, influence in the media. But none of them will contribute anything to our race. So whites do not have to worry about any movement. They target our youth to see this as their reward. When we ain't looking and we so trying to integrate and love everybody, and their message is take the power for change away from them, go right into their pockets, and you don't have to worry about them doing anything. And these Negroes, I mean, he just went after, Clarence Thomas, got a big, jolly, fat rancher looking cracker. It looks like he went to Looked like he went with Matthew Henson to the North Pole and just cracked one of them pieces of ice and harpooned his big fat cracker. He must have had too many Christmas dinners. He went and got a big Santa Claus cracker. I mean, Dr. Carter said a Jurassic Park cracker, you know? She just a big dinosaur. He went back in one of the time machines, put that big fat white dinosaur in the time machine and zapped her back. Brothers and sisters, this is real. This is real warfare. We're going to take a break in 1 second, but I just want to show you one more video here. Because I know when I say it's economic warfare, I know some people say, well, you know, that just sounds like a little much. I mean, is it really that serious? I mean, is it just somebody, two people loving each other? If you're in love with somebody, then that's what it's all about. Let's see if that's what it's all about.
97% of the replies from these white women go to white men.
Which invites an economic test. How much more money would a man have to make before he'd become popular to women of another race? Here are the results. White women prefer white men, but respond equally to profiles from Hispanic men if they make $77,000 a year more, to black men only if they make $154,000 a year more, and to an Asian man, $250,000 more.
240? What? Really?
You tend to need just an extra security deposit when you go for someone outside of your own race.
I can tell you, I can show you, right? She just said it just like this. Look, why the Hispanics now? Why they the preferred ones? Because the Hispanics are the ones fighting. We ain't doing nothing. So now they see the Hispanics on the rise. They use the same warfare they use with them with us. Now they telling the white female recruits, the Hispanics are on the rise. Go marry into the powerful Hispanics so that if they ever decide that they're descendants of the Native Americans and they want some get back for the genocide that you did here, we already got them locked in. You right there, they land with the enemy. There will be no financed revolution. There will be no revolution. There will be no change. We're going to take a break, brothers and sisters. We're going to come back and we're going to finish this off. Thank you, brothers and sisters. The reason I'm a race man today is because my black mother decided before I was born that she wasn't going to have a Negro. She was going to have an African. And she gave me an African name. She started me off the right way. And I've been trying to do my best to go the right path ever since. I'm on it. I done strayed off a few times, though. Let me let you know. I ain't going to let you know too much, but I'm trying. Can y'all show me some love? I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. No, sir. No, sir. Hey, wait a minute. Let me set the record straight. I can yell it from the highest mountain, from the mountain Kilimanjaro. I ain't never laid with no cracker. Never will, never have. Don't remember no dreams about it. I don't remember my dreams, so I'm going to say I don't remember. Now, don't ask no more questions, brother, because I ain't answering it. And I will lie to you. But that's one that I can say proudly. And I can add some spice to it because I was in Massachusetts. Let me say, Massachusetts. Some of y'all don't know what that means. That means you from the South, you thought you met some crackers. You ain't met no real crackers. Them crackers in the South still got a little Southern hospitality. The real crackers is not down South. The real crackers is up South. But there ain't no black people. And they let you know there ain't no black people. And they never let you forget. And never once did I lay down with no horizontal integration with no crackers. So give me another round of applause. Shut me up, baby. That's all right, baby. I need to stop talking so much, right? Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we talked about what we see, that this ain't no accident. Because see, sometimes we get confused because one minute the whites don't want integration. The next minute they do, we tell you, what's going on? Why are we seeing it? Why is it okay now? It's okay because they're coming after us, brothers and sisters. It's warfare. And we've got to get more sophisticated to be able to identify so that we can make appropriate steps in our own best interest. So, brothers and sisters, we talked about black males. It's economic warfare. What's going on with our sisters? Dr. Chancellor Williams tells us thousands of years, now this is thousands of years ago. Man, it's strange how when you don't know your history, you don't know your story, you continue to do it over and over again. It's an ancient Sumer legend. It said the traveler was traveling and he asked the old man, he said, what happened to the black people of Sumer? And the old man said, the traveler said, because we read the ancient records and it says all the people in Sumer were black people. What happened to them? And the old man sighed. He said, they lost their history and so they died. And brothers and sisters, it's important that we know history because sometimes there ain't no other way to answer a question because it makes no sense. The only way you can add the pieces up is to go back and see what happened yesterday. Then you can understand what's happening today. He says, so anxious were some of these early black men for integration with whites that they did most in creating the new breed of Egyptians who would become their mortal enemies. In an all-out effort to appease the invaders, they freely gave their daughters as concubines. Man, and we ran out there and said, here, white folks, we trying to get in. And so here are our daughters. So I want to show you now, brothers and sisters, there's nothing that's done by accident these days. None of this is accidental. Let's see them as we see the Europeans promoting the next part of this agenda.
Of being classified as a victim. Single black professional woman destined to be unhappy and alone.
In the 2006 feature film Something New, a successful female executive, frustrated by the lack of eligible black men in the dating pool, winds up falling for a white guy.
You did what? With who? For Kenny? Yes.
A situation researchers say is becoming more and more commonplace. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in just the last 6 years alone, the percentage of black wife, white husband couples has risen more than 20%. The statistics suggest that African-American women nationwide are rethinking their traditionally stringent rules about interracial dating.
Is it a little more acceptable? It depends on the generation.
I mean, it's basically finding someone that you connect with. Race is really not important as long as you guys share something special.
Would I date a white man? Yes, I would.
They're calling it the quiet revolution, and experts believe women of color may be taking their cue from rich and powerful role models, like tennis sensation Venus Williams, who's dating pro golfer Hank Genie, or supermodel Iman, who's been happily married to rocker David Bowie since 1992. Actor Shar Jackson has a history of dating across the color line, and former Miss America, Erica Dunlap, married marketing executive Brian Kleinschmidt earlier this year. So why are more and more African-American women crossing the racial divide? They say, why limit your options? You never know. The new Mr. Right could be
Mr. White. See, now we got to ask ourselves the question, brothers and sisters, because something's going on. White boys ain't never been happy to be putting on TV. She was happily married to actor David Bowie. They ain't just say he was married, she was happily married. What's going on? We said that with the black man, they're making sure that there's no revolution, no change coming out. It's an economic warfare. What is it that we're looking at now when we see whites promoting it as okay and acceptable for white males to go after black women? This is going to really be very painful, brothers and sisters, because sisters, see, brothers thought that the white female loved them. Now he understands that all she wants is his money and to ensure the future of her race. And they don't mind taking a little bit of that melanin either to help make them healthier, because melanin actually, when whites take in that melanin from us and share it, it makes them healthier. It makes their organs stronger. It protects them from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. With the global warming that's coming, it's very necessary, but that's economic warfare on behalf of the black man. She don't love him, she just wants his money. And she want to make sure she has a future for a race. But what is this thing about with these white males going after black women? Why are they promoting black women going to white males? Well, I want you to think now. Black men are out of the picture. They got us locked up and incarcerated. Brothers don't know how to walk straight, switching all kinds of different directions. See the most beautiful black woman in the world and don't nothing happen. If you're a black man and you see the most beautiful black woman in the world, I don't care how happily married you are, you're supposed to at least go, man, I'm not going to look back because my wife's right here next to me. I'm not going to look back. And since if your man wants to look back but don't be happy for him, that means he's still a man, all right? But they got us off the set, and now we see the European male coming in for the black woman. It's okay to date interracially. Matter of fact, that's preferred. Pushing is promoting it. The movie, Something New, we started saying, well, a black female made the movie, but who decided to put it on the big screen? Why are whites promoting this? The only way we can understand it, brothers and sisters, sometimes we got to look at history. because there's nothing logical about what I'm about to share with you. It's only through history that we understand it. We go to a book, SBA. Let's give Asa Hilliard, our ancestor. He's in the spiritual realm. Let's show him some love. In 1914, Theodore Roosevelt, don't read it now. I see some of y'all want to get ahead. I'm going to read it, all right? Stay with me, stay with me. 1914, Theodore Roosevelt, President of the United States, was talking to someone from Brazil. And the Brazilian was telling them, listen, the whites in Brazil were telling them, you all are dealing with your race problem with black people in the wrong way. He said, when you segregate them and leave them aside, they become stronger, and they'll perpetually be a thorn in your side, always seeking power, always having a self-identity. You'll always have to deal with them from a position of power and them knowing who they are and wanting to be who they are. He said, you're dealing with your race problem wrong. These were his words to Theodore Roosevelt. In Brazil, the idea looked forward to is the disappearance of the Negro question through the disappearance of the Negro himself. That is through his gradual absorption into the white race. The Brazilians, he went on to say, the Brazilians are still white. In other words, he's saying, you know, because we always get this idea, if a black person and somebody white have a child, it's a black child, but we don't know history. That has not been historically accurate. Historically, when whites have populations of other people on this planet that they have attacked and assaulted, at some point in the process, they begin the process of mongrelization, which is really genocide. Because they say, now that the men are not on the scene, we're going to take the women, give them babies, and eventually they'll be absorbed into the white race. That is a constant warfare process of genocide that Europeans have been doing for thousands of years. Now, there's so many black men are in prison and they're promoting the homosexuality. Why are they promoting homosexuality and at the same time promoting black women going to white males? It is pure, unadulterated genocide. Since 1914, we always talking 100 years. That's why the whole integrationist movement started. It had nothing to do with us. We wanted access. We pay tax dollars. You got a library. We want access to the library. We want access to the schools. We want our children to be able to be doctors and lawyers. They had nothing to, look, why would we get off the plantation with the brutality that white folks gave us, and then you think the masses of black people want to go back to white folks? We was trying to get as far away from them as possible. A few Negro leaders who was in love with white folks. Whites was able to get them because their idea is that gradually, instead of segregating them and keeping them to themselves so they stay strong, we are going to absorb this race into us and make them disappear. And what you're seeing now, they have us in such a bad condition that we're complicit with our own genocide through the absorption of the race. Now, like we always do, you know how we do, I can say this to you, but I know for some people, it seems like a little much. It seems like somewhat of a stretch. I'm going to show you the whites telling you exactly what they're doing. If you think this is a stretch, consider this. The whole continent of Australia was black. Every inhabitant was black. Once they had murdered off the inhabitants of Australia, to the degree that there were few of them left, then the last part of the genocide process was to gradually absorb them into the white race and eliminate them in that manner. It's a movie called Rabbit Proof Fence. And we're going to take a look just at a very brief clip because, like we always say here, we can show you better than we can tell you. And no matter what, brothers and sisters, I know at this point you believe me. I know you do. But there ain't nothing like hearing the devil talk about his intentions, his goals and objectives, hearing it for yourself. So we're going to go and see what happened to our brothers and sisters in Australia. I didn't lie to you, did I? Sisters, particularly my sisters who are so fed up with black men, and I cannot honestly say that you should not be fed up with us. The way that the black male is acting on this planet, he is not fit for love from anybody. But I want to just say this to you because of the truth. He don't love you. Matter of fact, if that white male loved you, he wouldn't have raped you to begin with. He wouldn't have enslaved you, and he wouldn't be killing your babies. If he loves you, he wouldn't be locking your men up when they're not committing crimes or shooting them 50 times in the street. He don't love you. He wants you gone, and you can help him.
There you go, bro. Say it again, bro.
He wants you gone. He wants your legacy gone. He wants your history gone. He wants your race gone. He wants the beautiful way that you walk and light this planet up with your beauty. He wants it gone. And you can help him. You know how you help him? You go to him and integrate. Once again, brothers and sisters, integration has been the key element in the destruction of black civilization. It is nothing designed to help black people. It has always and will always be designed to destroy us. How does it help whites? They get our color. They get the strength of our organs. They get the DNA, the melanin and the DNA that goes back to the beginning of time. What does a black, beautiful human being that has ancestry to before time began get from integration with Europeans? You get genocide.
That's right. That's right.
Now, we got to talk, brothers and sisters. I know you say, I'm going to an integration lecture. It ain't going to be real heavy. It's heavy because we've been lied to so much. We think it's good. And when you see how bad it is, it's really, really painful because sometimes, you know, sometimes we get on the wrong track. But now we got to get back on the right track.
Get back on the right track.
And being back on the right track is we got to start making it mean something to have a black mother and a black father. I got a black mother and a black father. Could you give me a round of applause? I feel good about that. And it don't seem like that's a lot, but it's becoming a chore. And look, some of y'all got black mothers and fathers too. I just want to give y'all a clap. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, black mothers and fathers that went out there and did the right thing. But now we got to talk, and this is a hard discussion, but we got to have it. What's produced when a black man and a white female lay together? What's produced when a black woman lays down with a white male? What does history tell us? Let's go to history. Here goes Chancellor Williams, our black Bible. Now the Bible ain't got no lies in it. Let's go to the Bible. To prove how truly white they were, the mixed Egyptians, we talking about thousands of years ago, made hatred of Africans a ritual and tried to surpass the whites in raiding for slaves in all African areas. Various mulattoes who became Egyptians' kings declared eternal warfare against black people and vowed to enslave the entire race. Who we talking about? Look, I know it hurts some feelings, but we got to start talking. Brothers and sisters, for people who don't know about Washington, D.C. and why black people love Marion Barry, let me just give you a very brief description of who this man was so you'll understand. He had some problems with drugs. He said, why do you support a man? When that man came into power, Washington, D.C. administration was owned, run, and controlled by white folks. Marion Barry became mayor and said 33% of every dollar that goes to a contractor goes to a black person. Marion Barry said from 13 to 21, if you're 13 to 21 years old, you are absolutely, positively guaranteed a job. That's why you got countless thousands of black people who grew up in Washington, D.C. that are in professional jobs now and have made it because we were able to stay off the main streets of Washington, D.C. and that Marion Barry Youth Leadership Program and get people that loved us and trained us. And he fought, come on, clap. And you from D.C., you got to clap. He forced them crackers to hire black people. They ain't had no choice. And many of us ain't in prison or dead today because of this man. He showed the kind of loyalty to black people that you do not see in politicians of today. You got to go back to the Adam Clayton Powells and brothers of that day to see that kind of thing. That's why black people in D.C. love him. I'm not calling this thing here a black man. This mulatto, Adrian Fenty comes in, and almost like he read the destruction of black civilization and said, I want to show you what mulattoes do. I want to be the best mulatto. Here you got the black police chief. Man, look at it. Black fire chief. I mean, that cracker blew up. That cracker can tie a noose there. I don't know if he should have been the head of he looked like he should have been the one the head of the police. He's ready to kill some black folks. Can you kill black folks as a fire chief? If they don't, he look like he gonna find a way. School superintendent. Oops. Boom. Almost, because in the destruction of black civilization, it says white Asiatics a lot, just because there was no Europe, then they call it Asiatics, but she's actually Asian. This is what's incredible. He's come in, when you crawl out that filthy wound of Europe, you can't expect, man, this thing has come in, Adrian Fenty. Now he's doing massive firings in D.C. I'm talking about the hundreds, and he's firing all the black people. And literally, we know people that work there. On all the applications that they're accepting, the people they're hiring are all white and Asians. Literally, in a modern time, a black-controlled city, to the degree black people can control a city in America, a mulatto has come in and literally taken every game, they say almost every single solitary millionaire in PG County has Marion Barry to thank for that. That Uncle Tom bootlicking Negro Robert Johnson that puts that monstrous stuff before us would have been a nobody if it wasn't for Marion Barry. Say, here, take some TV and give our people something good. Did we all do the right thing with it? I'm not saying that, but let me tell you something. These mulattoes, brothers and sisters, as history tells us, he says the mulatto has been the white man's most effective agent in helping destroy black civilization. That's powerful. He didn't say they helped. He's saying they have been the most effective assistant to the European. Brothers and sisters, he says, relying on the concept of being innately superior to black people, whites everywhere create a class that made their bastard offsprings next to them in status and superior to all black people. No, we ain't gonna talk about Barack. It ain't gonna go like that. I know, so I gotta trick you sometimes. Sometimes you think it's going one way, but I ain't going the way you think I'm going. I ain't going where you think I might be, because y'all look and say, oh, no, don't do that. I know what's going on with y'all brothers. Y'all see that pretty black wife here, and you say, brother, don't do that. And I'm with you, but don't you dare do it. No. If we know, and listen, it ain't no if we know. Let me state it differently. It is an absolute fact. Listen, it's not, in 20 years, listen what I'm saying to you. In 20 years, somebody's gonna say, man, that brother was brilliant. He told us this was gonna happen. No, ain't nothing brilliant about this. History speaks the truth. As a class, listen, as a class, as a group, historically, invariably, whether their mothers were white or whether their fathers were white, as a class, the mulatto in Haiti, in Africa, all throughout this planet has always sided with white folks. Why? I don't know. No, I do know. You want me to tell you why? Because when black people, when we get with white folks, our only thought is, oh, I'm with white folks. White folks, when they get with black people, they have an agenda, and they make sure they put it in those children. So those children destroy us. But this is the problem. Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass committed his life to working for black people. Adam Clayton Powell, he could have passed for white. But I don't know where we'd be without Adam Clayton Powell working with black people. Bob Marley financed the end of the Angolan Revolution, from what I understand. Yeah, Booker T. Washington. He said up you mighty, I mean, he didn't say up you mighty race, but he said up from slavery. But he tricked white folks into financing black institutions. I mean, the reality of it is, we can't just say all mulattoes are bad. But at the same time that's happening, we have to protect ourselves against the mulatto class. Because as a class, they're going, 20 years from now, black people are going to hate mulattoes worse than you angry white folks. It might be, this is what history says. Because the things Adrian Fenty does is just a glimpse into what the mulattoes are going to do to black people. Don't have time to get into it. You got to read for yourself and go through the history. But we got to figure out, what do we do? And I say, this is what I say is a fair thing. And why I put Barack Obama up, because it's the perfect example. If a person, see, there's a stronger requirement for mulattoes than a black person with a black mother and father. If you got a white parent, then if you declare yourself loyal to black people, meaning like Barack Obama, he married a black woman, you state that you are black, and you take positions in favor of black people consistently, then as far as we're concerned, you black. Why not? I mean, Adam Clayton Powell was black, and I don't want to hear who his parents were. I know who he fought for and who he stood with. He black. Frederick Douglass fought slavery and did a good job. He married a white female at the end of his life, but, you know, I mean, you know, he's a mulatto. But no, he's a black man who made a mistake. Bad one. Bad one. Real bad one. But, unforgettable. I'm saying this is how we deal with it. Barack Obama's married with a black woman, isn't he? A real black woman, right? I mean, don't have no indication she don't want to be black. In all fairness, he looks like a black man, he acts like a black man. Right now, he is a black man. He gets in power. If he did become president, and he said, you know what? The black farmers had their land stolen. I'm going to start a special commission. The black farmers going to get their land back. And I'm going to have another, part of the process, getting the crops redone, and we're going to follow it all the way through to get the stuff to market. We say, man, go on, brother. Barack Obama get in office. Barack Obama say, all these brothers been locked up. We got this DNA testing now. We got brothers been in jail for 25 years. Didn't have nothing to do with the crime. Wasn't in the same city of the crime. We're going to do this DNA test. I want a special commission. Don't nobody else in the society get nothing except until this gets done. We say, go ahead, brother. That's why we want a brother in office. He go out there and say, we got to start bringing some of the jobs back to America. We don't have enough jobs here. It's jobless. And we say, man, thank you. This is a good thing of the brothers in office.
Right.
He's a brother. Barack Obama gets in office and decides, black people, you got to stop being so homophobic. Barack Obama gets in office and starts talking out against Hugo Chavez. Barack Obama started getting in there and started doing everything that we would say, oh, okay, he working on behalf of the white folks. You know what we say? Typical mulatto. That's what we expected. What else you know? No, I'm serious. Look, we got to understand something. And it's not our fault. Look, if somebody came in this room and punched me in the face and knocked me on the ground, and then they picked somebody else up and threw him on top of me, and then the white boy jumped on the very top. Here's my question to you. Who's keeping me down? Who's keeping me down? The white boy, right. You sure?
No.
Who's keeping me down? You saying the one on top of you?
One on the bottom.
You saying they both are?
All of them.
The best answer, it depends. If the person in the middle position is, brother, when we get this white boy off the top of us, we gonna whoop his ass. Right on, brother. If the person on top of me say, master, go ahead and get some water. I got him down here, he's okay. Then both of them keeping us down. That's the problem with the mulattoes. We don't know what they gonna do. That is not our fault. Black man, if you have the common decency to keep white females out of your bed and lay down with a black woman when you want intimacy, we won't have no more of these problems. Black woman, if you have the common decency to keep the white male out of your bed, we won't have these problems to contend with. We don't make the problems, we have to deal with them. That's the fairest way to be. If they loyal to us, they black people, we don't think twice about it. The minute they take the side of the cracker, they mulattoes and they typical mulattoes, and we expect it exactly what we do. We got to turn on them just like they turn on us. That fair enough? Fair enough. Let's go with it. So if you're voting, you got to vote for the black man. Because as it stands, he's a black man. Come on, give some love for that. And if you ain't voting, don't get upset. Just don't. I ain't say you got to. But if you do, it's only one way to go. And brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, I'm going to say it one more time because it's critical. Don't have time to get deep into it. I promise you, this is going to mean something to you in the future. We are going, in 20 years, we're going to have a crisis with the mulattoes who are going to side with Europeans, and they're going to do things to us that we can't possibly imagine today. Let us be prepared to deal with the fact that this is coming and establish today is something special for a black man to be with a black woman. This is Ethiopia, where I was at the Gihon Hotel. And all they were doing in the month of January was all these weddings, and I didn't see any. I mean, I must have seen 2,000-3,000 people, and all of them were black. And so we saw black family. And so I want to arm you, brothers and sisters, because some people say, that's hard, man. How do I talk to my family and tell them I'm against integration and the marrying? How do I do it? I'm going to give you something simple that all of us can stand on. It takes a black man and a black woman to start a black family. Check?
Yes.
A black man and a white female, that's a mixed family, right? Right. A black female, a black woman, and a white male, that's what? It's a mixed family. Only way to get a black family, black man and black woman. Therefore, if you believe in the black family, you must be against interracial marriage and or interracial dating. So next time you're at the house and it comes up and you say, no, I'm against it, I don't agree with it, and the family start jumping on you, you got them. Say, well, it's just that I believe in the principles of a black family. And a black family requires a black man to be with a black woman. 90% of the brothers and the sisters in the room, well, nah, I understand you say it, I agree, they're going to come on your side, but you always got that Uncle Tom. You always got that person that got their special agenda that's going to fight with you. And you know what you tell them? When it gets to that point, you say, well, listen, we have a fundamental difference. I believe in black family, you don't. So let's not have this discussion any further. And leave it right there. How about that? Brothers and sisters, there's no love the world has ever known like the love between a black man and black woman. Let's start taking pride in that reality. Got to do it real quick. Can't leave it out. What happens to us spiritually through forced integration? Chancellor Williams tells, as in the case of Islam, Christian conversion meant changing into the white man's image, his ideas and value system. The real object of worship turned out to be neither Jesus Christ nor his Father God, but Western man and Western civilization. Woo! Get that? Oh, that's it right there. Come on. So we got to ask a question. Quick test. Who's that? Who's that? Also known, that's right, Serapis. Also known as who? Jesus. Who's that? Also known as who? Jesus. Who that? Serapis. That's right. I need one answer. Come on. Give me. I need to hear you. Who? Jesus. That's right. Who that? Jesus. Who that? Jesus. Who that? Jesus. That's right. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Jesus Christ. Jesus. My God. All I'm saying, I got a question. I got a question though. Is he the same guy as him? No. They two different people, right? Is he the same guy as him? No. But they all Jesus. They all different individuals, but they all Jesus. So then who is Jesus? White. What do they all have in common? They white what? White males. I think they males, right? They look male. Yeah, they white males. What does that mean? The white male is God. Look. I know that it's real simple. If you put me on there, and you put Kush on there, and you put D on there, you wouldn't say, that's Kush. Right. You wouldn't do it. All I got to do is find a frizzy head cracker. He can be blonde hair. He can have white hair. He can have blue eyes, brown eyes. Long as he looked kind of gay and kind of soft, I throw him up on I say long as I didn't say he was gay. I'm just saying if I was to make my own personal assessment of the way he looked to me, I would say he fruity as a cocktail salad. That's what I would say. You might not agree. But my point is, if the white male is God and that's who we've been worshiping as an image, which we can't deny since we can recognize any white male with long hair is Jesus, then I got a question. Are we not in a condition as a race of people that we need somebody to save us? Yes, sir. Then I'm keeping it real. Who looks like, I need a real quick answer, who looks like they'd be more likely to come back and save black? I'm saying you don't have to know who they are. I'm asking an honest question. We need somebody to come help black people. Does he look like he's not? I'm saying you might not know who he is. Which one? I need you to help me by a round of applause. Is it this one? Or is it this one? I'm a cheat now because I know you all know who she is. If we need somebody to come get us some freedom, do it look like he be more likely to do it or she be more likely to do it? Well, then we got new gods and new images on our walls. Our ancestors said, whatever you put on your walls is what you worship. So if you're in a black home now and you got your grandparents and your family all around your walls, good for you. You worship your ancestors. If you got John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln on the wall, you got some work to do. And now I know you're saying, but that's Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. What are you talking about? Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was only a man. I mean, he was a great man. He's an ancestor now, but this is our God Taharka and Nzinka. You say, well, why would you change their names? I didn't change their names. They're Africans. They got to have African names. And it's okay. I went and talked to Dr. Khalid last night. I said, Doc, we got some work to do. We got to use your powerful image. He said, you know what I'm doing? He said, that's all right, sir. Just make sure he's a killer. I said, yes, sir. He said, oh, by the way, son. I said, yes, sir. He said, make sure you tell them kikes that they still ain't no goddamn good. Whites, so-called Jews, small hats, kikes, you ain't no goddamn good. I mean, I'm not trying to be indecent, but the doc told me to do it. I'm going to say no. I went to Sister Harriet. I said, Sister. She said, boy, I ain't got no time for this. I'm busy. I said, but, I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you know who to pick. You know, Harriet told me she was busy working down here. She working for us right now, too. Queen Nzinga. That's a name that we can stand on because she won and she went to her grave fighting for our people. And so, these are our new gods and goddesses, brothers and sisters. I want to see them on your wall. I want to come in your house and look around. And next time I talk to your son, I'm going to put a picture of Garvey up there and Nat Turner and Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I'm going to say, young man, who is that? He's going to say, God. And who is that? God. And when I put her up there and Ida B. Wells Barnett, your child will say, Goddess. That's how we got to change this thing around. All right, let's do it. We moving out of here. Y'all all right? No, we got a little bit to go. Y'all all right? Let's get a little bit. The doctor, the educator, the good book, he said the Negro integrationists are hostile to the black revolution and aim to defeat its main aims by forcing black children and youth of the nation more directly under white education. Once again, as in slavery, they will be cut off from the history of their race. Who are we talking about? We got a veritable cornucopia of wannabe white folks that they made to look like and make us think are our heroes. I want to tell you one important thing about all of these Negroes. The vast majority of the so-called leadership in the black community who outwardly and aggressively profess themselves to be integrationists, the vast majority of them are either cracker lovers or they faggots. I'm going to say it one more time. Listen, the vast majority of the individuals who self-proclaim themselves supposed to be leaders, and they say we're integrationists, and they promote this integration, are cracker lovers or faggots. Let's look at Dr. Martin Luther King. Y'all know he wanted to marry a white female, right? He tried to marry her. Her father said no. Now, Betty Moats, Smallhead, now you understand why he was so desiring for us to get in with white folks, because they want to be with white folks. Baird Rustin, he didn't like white females, he preferred white males. Yes, sir. Do you know that this Uncle Tom trader, don't got time to get into it today, but Thurgood Marshall, do you know that this trader married an Asian female? You thought he had a black wife, didn't you? No, he didn't. And nothing but a bunch of veritable, look, W.E.B. Du Bois. You know why Du Bois eventually at the end of his life tried to start helping Africa? Because he tried to start a caste system in America. He wanted light-skinned black people with education to be a middle mulatto class above the masses of our people. And the white folks said, look here, little boy, you ain't getting in. Then he decided, after he helped them destroy Garvey, destroy all the true Africans who really had the interests of the masses of our people in mind, this Negro used to sit around and call the UNIA the ugliest niggas in America. It was the Universal Negro Improvement Association, where black people, you could be a sharecropper, you could be unemployed, you could be any black person. Our objective was worldwide to bring ourselves together. These Uncle Tom Negroes were trying to set up a privileged class in this country, and they teach them that these are our leaders and saviors. No, brothers and sisters, Brown versus the Board of Education. You're going to fight so that the same whites that bomb your churches and kill your daughters call you nigger and lynch you, and for that you tell them, I want you to educate my child. What kind of mad integrationist Negro mindset do we have? Bobby Wright tells us that the only thing we got out of this education integration system when the schools integrated was that the black principals in black schools ended up as janitors in the white schools. If they had a job. You think that a black man and a black woman who's part of a community is not going to spend more time and energy trying to educate your child than some white that's trying to kill you anyway? Got a sister, I was talking to her just recently, right up in Baltimore County. Crazy story. I almost didn't believe it myself. I believed the first part, but the end was just crazy. She told me she was having a problem with this teacher. Her son was at the school, one of the few black children in the class. White teacher, primarily white class. She said, son raised his hand. Teacher didn't call his hand, and he made some kind of gesture or something. So she said she been having problems with the teacher. She decided she was going to go meet with her. She said the teacher said since he made some kind of gesture in class, she took some points off his test. So she said, that don't sound right. So I was talking to her, I said, this is a racist. I said, maybe, I ain't sure. I said, maybe that's a part of her regular routine, taking points off everybody's test, but I ain't never heard that in my life. I told her exactly what to do. I said, go in there, sit down with that white female, look her in her eye, let her talk, make sure you make your son be quiet. Don't say nothing, because they're going to try to provoke you. I said, then you look on her face, and when she finishes, I heard everything you said. I came here, I said, look her dead in the eye. I came here to ensure that this is not about white racism, because it is, it won't be tolerated. I said, all you got to do is say that and she will crack. She said she sat down there, let her talk, and she said, I just came here to make sure that nothing racial was going on. She said, the white female, I got white, black friends, and no, your son is just the best one in the world. But here's where the story takes a twist. Because he said she was backing up so fast, she said she had to hold her face. She said she did exactly what the brother said. So she said, well, do you always take points off of children's tests when they do basic? She said, no, this is my first time I ever did that when I did it with your son, but I just thought it should be done. So she said, well, it's not going to be done. She said, oh, no, it won't be done. And when we come back from spring break, everything is going to be great, and everything is going to be okay then. Then, this part of it, I was like, what? She looked down and looked at all her son's test scores and said, 20 out of 100. That don't sound like my son to get 20 out of 100. He's a much better student than this. I don't understand. The white female, she had the principal, assistant principal in there sitting with her. She looked at her. Oh, I made such a mistake. He actually got 20 out of 20. He got 100%. Wow. I just made a mistake. Oh, let me erase that. Oh, that'll be taken care of. Wow. I said, whoa. I said, you know, these low-life crackers. That's what they do. They ain't changed a lick. They identified those youth, those black youth that they say will be promising. See, her student is a star athlete, great student in all of his classes, promising young man, not getting in the type of trouble that our other youth get. Right. And what thanks do they get when they go in there with white instruction? Right. To be targeted for failure. Yeah, she saved her son in that situation. Her son is guaranteed a good grade now, because when you pull that cracker to the carpet, they always fold. When you can bring that cracker down to a man-to-man, woman-to-woman, face-to-face reality, you can beat him every time. Problem is, you don't fight like that. It's a nice thought, but it don't work that way. But when you do it, you generally, black people win. But what about the countless masses of them youth that have parents that are not properly parenting and don't listen to their children when they come home? They destroy us in these educational systems, brothers and sisters. We are crazy to want to integrate with people that hate us. Who we talk? We getting out of here. We ain't much longer. I got to talk about it, though. I mean, they setting this Negro up to be the next leader. And I mean, if this ain't the most pleading, begging this, I mean, there's a multitude of issues we could talk to, but I'm going to tell you, I listened one day, I heard this show, and I actually tried to call this Negro up because I was going to talk to him. I was saying, look, make sure you don't put me on the air what I got to say to you. It's one thing to be a traitor, but it's another thing to do open treason in front of your people. Now listen, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael Baisden, one of the most successful black personalities in this country. His entire audience is primarily black. Am I correct? Right. If Hispanics stop listening to him, would it affect his ratings? No. If white folks stop listening to him, would it affect his ratings? No. If anybody else, but if black people stop listening to him, he'd be off the air, right? Right. So we are loyal to him. We don't say, well, Monday I'm going to listen to a Hispanic. Tuesday I'm going to listen to somebody else. Wednesday we say he's black. We're going to listen to him and show him loyalty. Every day he gets on the air. Right. Well, white folks and Hispanics, we got to do all this stuff. But one day it went too far. Always. He said, I'm bringing in DJs, and we want to bring people into the DJ field, and I'm helping people get in. But I don't want all black people. I want a rainbow. I want black people, whites, Asians. I said, wait a minute. You're going to tell us who are loyal to you that you ain't going to be loyal to us. Brothers and sisters, we got to start calling these Negroes to the carpet. Are you a man? If you're a man, take a position. Are you a black man? Are you loyal to us? If so, then let us see that. If not, get out. We're not going to support you. That's how we got to be with these Negroes. Open treasonous thing. Uh-oh. I know. Oh, no, you didn't say the fiddler. Is that a new superhero? No, 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 not love. Look, we've been waiting for years. We ain't been trying to do it because, you know, sometimes things are surreal. I got to cross, honest to God. Brother, would you check this for me? A brother called me this morning. Bruh, I just rode past the mosque, and I saw some white Jews walking in the mosque. He said, it disturbed me so bad, I doubled back around to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. I said, maybe they gonna hurt him or something. He said, they opened the door and welcomed them into the mosque. You got white fruit now. How you gonna hate? That's like a spoiled fruit. How you gonna have a white fruit? Toussaint Louverture, Minister Louis Farrakhan, it's fair to say at this point in time, we can be honest, these were Negroes who were always integrationists. Always integrationists, but they made major contributions to our race. And the only place, I just want to make one point here because I don't know the answer to this. I want to make this and we're going to get on out of here. I mean, we're going to move right to the end, but integrationists don't die with us, brothers and sisters. But there are times when our people are so down and so downtrodden that the best leadership will come from someone who in their heart of hearts is an integrationist. And they will do a great job for us. And in the beginning, we will not be able to identify them from a nationalist. Right. It'll be sometimes so bad that the nationalists will say, we need our own schools. White folks are not doing nothing for us. They're destroying us. We need our own schools. We need our own institutions. We need a strong community. And the integrationists will say, We need our own school. We need our own stores and institutions. We need a strong black community. You can't tell them apart till you ask them the question. As a nationalist, why do you want that? Because if we're going to do anything for ourselves as a race, we must do it for ourselves and realize that these are our enemies and they're not going to ever help us. We got to do for ourselves. You ask the integrationist, why do you do that? He says, because if we don't do something for ourselves, then whites will never respect us and accept us as equal. Problem? The only thing that the whites can offer the true nationalists is a better weapon to fight them with. But the one thing that the whites always have in their favor when you're dealing with integrationists, they can always say, when the things look rough, they can say, we'll let you in. Come on in. And let me tell you, when the integrationist gets that carrot offered to them by the European, that he can get in, they will turn on us like there's no tomorrow, drop us like a can of soup, and throw us to the wolves. How we manage to figure out how we put term limits on integrationists who do a good job for us, I don't know how we do it, but at some point we're going to have to do it. You can take us as far as you can take us and contributing to our race, but when the time comes that you're no longer, your service is no longer needed and you can't take us any further, we say thank you, we appreciate you, we honor you forever, but we start taking instructions from new people who can keep us going the right direction, brothers and sisters. Have to make that point. We're going to get out of here with one last exercise. Y'all got enough? Yeah, should I end it right here? We can do one last exercise. One last exercise, and then we done. I said, you know what? I don't want to end this by not taking a real case scenario. Right here, while we living, this is happening right now. Ain't no history. It's history in the making. Right now, while we're living, what we about to watch is happening. I'm going to show you some clips. Now, I spliced it up intentionally. I'm not going to tell you why it happened. But you're going to have to answer the question, what happened to create this scenario once you watch it? Then you got to pay real close attention. Like I said, I spliced it up. You're going to see a lot of different stuff coming at you. You got to figure out why this happened. Because brothers and sisters, as we look around the planet, our people are chopping each other up, killing each other, famine, and all these things going on. And the question is, why is this happening? Right. We got to become more sophisticated. We got to already know the answer. We got to know who we are, who our enemies are, and what happens to make us the way we are. So I want to ask you one question before we start. Do y'all remember the two components of integration? Anybody? What's the first component?
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation, that's right. Race mixing, horizontal integration. What's the second one?
Destruction of civilization.
Race whitening.
Race whitening, and race whitening, accepting white standards of thinking and behavior over our own. That's right. So some people took their notes. I like that. All right, we're going to watch something. I want you to answer the question, what happened in this situation to make this happen? Y'all ready?
A pretty amazing story of feminism, African style. A remote village where women rule and where men have been reduced to mere genetic necessities, if you know what I mean. And oddly enough, this is occurring in one of the most patriarchal parts of the world. To see this lifestyle for herself and discover its raison d'etre, Liz Tardich travelled to the far north of Kenya.
This could easily be mistaken for a typical Samburu village in northern Kenya, where women do all the work while men laze around all day. But there's something very different about this Samburu village. Men are forbidden to live here. Women rule in the village of Umoja.
We don't allow the men in this village.
Turning Samburu patriarchy on its head has angered the men so much that they've recently started to mount daytime raids But do you think that attacking the women is the way to go? Sammy Griffiths runs a safari camp next to the nature reserve.
They like this one.
She'd like the wives of her workers to emulate the success of Umoja.
we're starting our shop, but the ladies where we are, as yet, haven't had anything to do with tourism. So they need to learn a lot from Rebecca and her girls as to how they can make their produce suitable for people who would like to come and buy it and to support the community.
Sammy Griffiths wants Rebecca to help set up a similar venture near her safari camp.
Yes, it's a good beer.
Getting the women back to the men is now the sole concern of Sebastian Lesenik, the chief of all the villages in this region. The chief is satisfied that some of the men are willing to have a reconciliation meeting. So the next day, he sets out to convince the women. Rebecca arrives and the women reluctantly gather to hear what the chief has to say.
Don't be harsh to me anyway. I'm not your husband. I'm just a peacemaker person. And I would like to come and talk to you while we arrange a day, one day that will make you together with your men.
But when we go back, we get the same problems, and you will be not there.
But we will be there because absolutely we are going to. I'm assuring you that we will take care of you. Yeah, that's already good. Being separating the children is very bad. That's why
the children belongs to both of us.
Yes, but you have
men and women, no problem.
And you know,
we take care of the children. Even always they don't take care of the children. We do take care of the children.
But you know,
if they get problems with the crocodile bite there, we just assist them. But they don't assist us.
Keep you
just
together.
Tell them, leave these women, give them peace, don't disturb them.
Cool down, ladies. I'll try to solve it. I'll see you. I'll come again.
On our way back to Rebecca's village of Amojam, we stop at a traditional settlement where Rebecca plans to discuss women's rights. But before she manages to even speak, the men step in.
In Australia.
Australia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the men don't have the power in Amojam, and they're afraid of what it represents.
So good to have a place which or something which makes these men to be scared. Don't let your wife stay there for more than a week. Please don't let her, don't let her drink the water from Moja. She'll be influenced by Moja. You'll not get her back again.
What do the women do for sex?
For sex? I don't know about sex because we don't have any men in here. Everybody here is like we have forgotten something like sex. We just sometimes sit down, then we talk. It is just like fun.
I later discover that the women only have sex when they want to have children. There are now more than 50 children living in Amojam, being educated in a school built from foreign donations and income from tourism.
It's our last and final exercise, but I'm hoping that we learned something. Now, I'm going to show you what the answer was, but before I do, you got to tell me. We know Europeans, we know racism, white supremacy. We know the world. Whose fault was it, the men or the women's? Somebody say the whites. If it was the white, okay, how many in here say, from what you can see, your best guess, it was the men's fault? All right, that's fair. How many say, from the best what you can see, it was the women's fault? How many people say you have no idea whose fault it is? And how many folks say it might be somebody else's fault, but you just can't put it together exactly? All right. Anybody want to take a wild guess? Now keep in mind, I gave you as many possible hints. I mean, it really is a very difficult question, but remember, what's the theme of this lecture? Integration. Integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization. Say it, let's say it again. Integration is the key element in the destruction of black civilization. You know what the two things that constitute integration? What happened? All right. Well, the white female is just coming and taping what's going on, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm doing it for a reason. It's not your fault, brothers and sisters. What I'm saying is, when we know ourselves, when you have a deep knowledge of yourself, and you know your enemy, then it's very easy.
At the heart of this unusual story is the reported behaviour of British soldiers. About 200 Samburu women from this district say that in the 1980s and 90s they were raped by personnel from a nearby army base.
These women, they have been raped by the British Army.
Take that, Western feminists. Liz Tardich there filming and reporting, and Liz tells us that the British military police investigating a whopping 2,000 allegations of rape made by Kenyan tribal women against British recruits are due to report any day. Until they do, the Kenyan government has said more British troops are not welcome in the country.
Brothers and sisters, it's real simple. The white folks came in and do what they do. They rape these women. The black men under normal situation, normal circumstances, would have went out there and went to war. Any brothers would have come in there and raped their women, they'd have went to war with them. They looked at the white boys with his big tanks and his big weapons and said, we'll lose, we'll get decimated, we go do something. But he don't have, his manhood ain't intact enough for him to look his woman in the face and say, I'll let this happen to you. So instead of making the right decision and trying to figure out what to do, he can't stand to look at her, because she reminds him of how much lack of manhood he's exhibiting by letting this happen to her. So he threw these sisters out. Just go out and fend for themselves. So them sisters out there left to die. They develop their own society. They start making a living. So, because they've been raped now, it's not their fault. Same thing we do here in America. Our women get raped. We still ain't never dealt with this cracker for all the pain and misery he brought our women. That's right. You think that they don't still sit around sometime and say, why don't our men do nothing for us? You crazy as hell. You think as black men we don't ever sit around and say, damn, we know it's our responsibility to do something, but we look out and see the odds. You think we don't say, man, the odds is too great. I'm going to go smoke some more weed, play on some more drums, and do whatever I'm going to do, because I know the alternative, I don't think I can win. This is the same situation all over the world. A nice group of people that's been living the same way for thousands of years, crackers come in, turn it upside down, and then you see the white female being the perfect mate for the white male. The white female told you that the crackers raped her, so if she had any goodness in her whatsoever, she would say, listen, y'all didn't do this to each other. The white males that raped y'all caused this problem. Work it out. Does she do that? What does she say? How do y'all have sex now? What's the agenda? Let's get on out of here. What do we know we can expect to see in the next 10 years? Feminism leading to greater divide between the sexes, right? Yes, sir. Feminism leading to exploding of lesbianism. So when we hear about all this lesbianism in Kenya, are we going to think that that was something that's always been in Africa? No. But they're not going to tell us how it started, are they? Hat hop, leading men to explosion of rape. You hear the brothers listening to 50 Cent and all that hip-hop? Now they're going to be listening to music that tells them to rape women. Drinking alcohol. They got these women that they can't deal with, who the whites are now supporting and educating, so they jealous. You mix the hip-hop with the liquor, with the lack of feeling of manhood. What they going to do? Go over there, rape them women, brutalize them women. We know what's coming. Dysfunctional children produced from this environment. How do you produce healthy children in an environment like that? More Western education leading to violence and warfare. They might even start trying to arm them. There's some strong sisters. They might arm them sisters against them brothers. At any rate, they're going to find a way to make them start killing each other. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that's what Europeans do, and you can see the beginning of it right there. Lastly, integration with whites leading to explosion and homosexuality amongst the male children. The sisters are going to invite the whites in because the education is there. They'll educate them little white males, the white males that'll come over, see them helpless children with nothing but women around, take them all, start sexually abusing them, educate the women to say there's this thing called homosexuality. Some children are just born that way. The men will see their children switching, say we don't want them white males there, but the white males are the one bringing the money and the finance and the resources to the white female, the black women. They'll protect the white males and the others that are sexually abusing and ravaging the sons and daughters of that region. You're going to have complete chaos, total confusion. You're going to have America. You're going to have Brazil. You're going to have the condition of black people all over the world, brothers and sisters. I know that ain't necessarily a positive note to end on, but I just wanted the brothers and sisters, I want to keep it real. I want us to look, because when we see brothers and sisters cutting the arms off, we talking about diamond wars and all this. Ain't no diamond wars. Racism, white supremacy, integration. Whites are enforcing us to live amongst them, and when we live amongst them, we start acting like them and we treat each other like them. The only acceptable relationship to have with whites when you're living with them is war, meaning you fighting them on every level to maintain your dignity, your self-respect, and sometimes you got to crack a head or two. So I'm going to say we're going to end here, brothers and sisters. This is it. The brother told us, the Bible, why don't we read it? It's the good book. He gave us the key to the whole riddle. He said the necessary re-education of black people and a possible solution to this racial crisis can only begin when black people fully realize the central theme, in fact, in our lives, that the white race is our bitter enemy.
Yes, sir.
Did he say we got to integrate? Did he say all human beings can get along? He said we got an enemy on the loose and we got to do something for ourselves. This is the calm and unmistakable verdict of 7,000 years of documented history where each and every black nation has been destroyed by whites. Brothers and sisters, we got work to do. I want you to leave here with a newfound sense of self. It's a pride we take when we have black mothers and fathers that means something. And we're going to let our people know that the only right decision for them to do in life is to be black, to know what it means to be black, and to recognize that they're special in being black so that we can follow the ways of our ancestors and stop assisting the system of racism and white supremacy in the genocide of our people. I thank you for listening. I thank you for sticking through with me. And I leave you as we come in, and we always grant you. We say our God commands growth and prosperity to African people. Peace to all God's beings, and death to all enemies of God and African people. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Supremacy and privilege will delete our black history. Just